Shalom Israel, Shalom, Shalom, Brother Naquan.
Shalom, shalom, brother. Right.
Coming back at you with another Monday Night Fire, giving, of course, all honor and glory to Yahweh by Shema Mashiach Malak Yahushai. Double honors to the elect elders of the house of David that's been in this truth for decades and decades, patiently waiting for the second coming of Mashiach Malak Yahushai. A hearty, mighty Shalom to all of the mighty men of the Most High God who are out there in the highways and byways, pushing this truth, magnifying the ministry, presenting their body as a living sacrifice, and enduring all things for the elect's sake. Shalom, Shalom. Salakia. Shalom to all of the mighty men of the Most High God who may not be out there in the highways and byways as of yet, but they're working on it. They're getting built up in the spirit. They're praying, they're fasting, they're studying. They're being diligent and abounding in the work of the Lord. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the Aquath out there, the sincere sisters out there, married and unmarried, keeping the law, statutes, and the commandments, moving in the spirit of our righteous foremothers. Shalom to all of the ancient men, the young children, and those of our nation who are scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom, Israel. Everybody reading, praying, and fasting in the last days, on fire for the Lord, doing everything they could do to make their body a living sacrifice. Right? I want to start off with this quick precept through the Spirit. It's the book of Sirach, chapter 44, and verse 4. Leaders of the people, by their counsels and by their knowledge of learning, meet for the people, wise and eloquent in their instructions. So we should seek out counsels in the last days, knowledge, wisdom, understanding through the eloquent, you understand, scriptures and accounts that we have by our forefathers, man. It's a lot that we can learn through the counsel that the Lord gives us through the scriptures. You don't want to lean on your own understanding with marriage. You don't want to fall by giving wicked advice or receiving wicked counsel or being alluded to God knows what by these TV shows, right? These movies, these media, right? These things will train your mind and how to, dictate yourself as a husband or as a wife. Chiefly, we need to be reading, praying, and fasting and going over these accounts, right? Because the Lord said, I'm going to read it again. Leaders of the people, these are our forefathers, right? The prophets and the elders, by their counsels and by their knowledge of learning, meet for the people, wise and eloquent in their instructions. So we're instructed upright in the way Yahweh, which was left of the scriptures as an example that we must follow.
That's right. And we're going to continue exactly where we left off. We know that there was a lot of questions that we weren't able to get to last week through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai. And we didn't want to move on to the next lesson we want to get into without having that time to be able to go into, these questions that were still on the table. And if there are any questions, we'll put that out there. If you you have a question and you want to actually get on, we'll actually drop that link. We'll drop the link in the chat if you want to ask your question a little bit more direct. If you feel as though there's not enough space, to type that question, or you want to go more into it, or there's something in the spirit that you have no problem discussing, sincere, right? Of course, sincere, no folly, no madness, but we've done that before. It was profitable for those who attended that live and that was on that lesson. But we'll do that as well. We'll drop that link on there. And if you're backstage, we'll bring you up. If you do have any questions that pertain to the topic at hand, right? It can be something that you want to help someone with. It can be something that you may be going through. It can be something that, you may have a particular spirit, that you're trying to work on and deal with. And sometimes, again, having that more direct line of communication is profitable than just a simple answer to a so-called stranger, right? Not that you're strangers, but you understand, right? On the comment board. So let me get this precept right through the spirit and power of Yahweh Basham Shai. Right, let's go to the book of Proverbs. Right, we're going to go to the book of Proverbs, and I'm going to drop that link. I'll drop that now, right, for those who may get on, who may want to attend, or who may not, right? This is Proverbs chapter 24 and verse 6. I'm going to start at 5. Proverbs chapter 24 and 5. A wise man is strong, yea, a man of knowledge increases strength. So I'm going to read that again. A wise man is strong, yea, a man of knowledge increases strength. And that's not talking about physical strength. It's talking about spiritual strength. Because as you acquire more understanding of the scriptures and receive the instructions, you become a stronger man of the Lord. You'll become a stronger husband, a stronger father, earthly father rather, a stronger brother. You understand? And vice versa for the Akwat. You'll be stronger mother, stronger sister, the more knowledge that you obtain. And the knowledge that you obtain has to be applied. That's how you increase in strength, by practicing the instructions and accepting the counsel given to you by Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Right? Verse 6. For by wise counsel thou shalt make thy war, and in the multitude of counselors there is safety. So for by wise counsel shalt thou make thy war. Right? And marriage could be a war. You understand? Relationships can be a war. Right? Ups and downs, battles, arguments. You understand? Manipulation, sorcery at times, man. Peace at times, conflict, wars of attrition, trench warfare, long wars. You understand? Grudges. But through wise counsel, you understand, you'll be able to deal with these particular matters and these particular situations. You got it, King. I'm gonna actually see if I can put this in the chat.
Khan, that's an excellent point too. And you can't be afraid to reach out to get help. You know, you don't want to be stubborn. You don't want to be too shy, too bashful. Let it overthrow you. You want to do everything you can do to inquire through the men of the Lord to receive the understanding via how we shine these scriptures. It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 20 and verse number 5. Counsel in the heart of man is like deep waters, but a man of understanding will draw it out. You have to draw out counsel. You don't want to skim off counsel and just get, a very, very, light response. Now you may be battling depression, battling spirits and demons in your marriage, and then you just ask your brother, well, what would you do if this happened? Then the brother, well, that's how I would handle it. Then you kind of take that. That's just skimming off the top, man. It says, and counsel in the heart of man is like deep waters. Meaning some counsels, it takes an hour. It takes 3 hours. It takes 5 hours. And sometimes you got to keep digging and digging till you get to the root of your problems. Maybe a grudge, maybe hatred, right? Maybe jealousy. You have to keep digging and digging and not just start with, he broke my dish or he came in the house late or things off of the top level, but keep digging and digging because the man of understanding, he's going to draw all of that out. And you want to be able to get to the root of your problems, to receive the correct counsel, because you can overthrow yourself by seeking counsel, by not telling the whole situation, by skimming off the top, by not inquiring, correctly about what's going on, man. That right there could overthrow yourself. So you want to make sure that you're drawing out as much as you can through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua.
Khan, and we're going to leave that link for those who do want to hop on. We'll deal with questions as they pop up, but we also, we do want to go into some fundamentals about marriage in the book of Ephesians, the 5th chapter, and we'll deal with questions accordingly, right? We'll deal with them on the comment board as it deems fit. A lot of questions, if you asked, if we dealt with that type of question last week, we'll defer you to the previous live. We did part 1. So there was a lot of topics we discussed. So we're going to use discretion on what questions we decide to deal with through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Right? So first and foremost, let's go to the book of Ephesians, the 5th chapter. Right? Let's go to Ephesians chapter 5. And we're going to go to a classic, verse 21. Right? First, I'm going to go to Sirach chapter 25. Let's go to Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 25 and verse 1. Right? It reads, and 3 things I was beautified and stood up beautiful both before the Most High and men, the unity of brethren, the love of neighbors, a man and a wife that agree together. So it's a beautiful thing for a man and a wife to be on one accord. A lot of brothers go to Amos chapter 3 and 3, and they say, can 2 walk together unless they be agreed? And you only apply that to brothers that you teach on the highways and byways. Maybe that's a brother that's into another religion or into another lifestyle or who accepted another philosophy. And you're pulling that scripture simply, which is a beautiful scripture, nevertheless, to bring him into the knowledge to understand that you have to be unified under Yahweh Shah. But that scripture also applies to marriage. right? The Lord is with unity. And three things he was beautified, man. When brothers get together in righteousness, when neighbors get together in righteousness, and when a man and a wife can agree together, when they're on one accord, moving in the same spirit, when there's no strife, no bucking up, no domestic abuse, no violence, no what they call toxic marriages, man. Right? You got toxic marriages in Israel, man. You got women saying, well, I'm leaving, I'm going to this camp. If you don't want to teach me, or you're not teaching me enough, I'm going to link up with this congregation. You're not as wise as this brother, right? Brother Ariah is on a higher level than you. So you're sneaking off watching Brother Ariah's videos, man. Right? He's the prisoner of Yahweh Shai, and you don't even have a job. So now you just go through and you're sneaking off in the bathroom, huh? Right? With a notepad in your hand. And he's banging on the door, get out! And all you hear is Ariah teaching at the harbor, man. Right? She bring a Bluetooth in there. Right? So that, I mean, you got sticky situations, man. You know, and these are not that we've dealt with that situation, but you have spirits in marriages, man. Right? So you want to make sure that you're doing your due diligence to make sure that you and your wife are on one accord. Right? I got one more quick precept. Let's go to Ephesians chapter 4. Right? Let's go to Ephesians, the 4th chapter, and I'm going to read verse 2. Right? Ephesians chapter 4 and 2. With all lowliness and meekness, with long suffering, forbearing one another in love. Right? So lowliness is humility, right? Taking that low road at times, taking that spirit of being humble in a particular situation, being humble in a particular time where you may have the right to really execute harsh judgment or to point the finger, you understand, or to put the blame on it. So or on someone that says with all lowliness and meekness, with long suffering. Long suffering is putting up with somebody that you may be at odds with, or someone that that may cause stress, or someone that y'all are butting heads, or you may not like particular habits they do, but you're dealing with it with a long time. Because the Most High is not dealing with those that are quick to flee in marriage. Right? I've been 2 years, I'm done. 3 years, I'm over. 6 months, this isn't what I thought. And what the truth is, the marriage is about long suffering. Long suffering is pretty self-explanatory. You break it up into two words, long and suffering, meaning you're suffering for a long time. You're going to be dealing with problems, man. But that's part of this truth, learning how to endure. Right? Reading on. And it's like you're forbearing one another in love. Here's the point I wanted. Ephesians 4 and 3. Endeavoring to keep the unity of the spirit and the bond of peace. Right? So marriage is about an endeavor. The definition of an endeavor, let me pull that up. Right? What does it mean what is an endeavor? Right? Endeavor. It means try hard to do something, so like to do or achieve something. Here's some synonyms: labor, strive, work hard, exert yourself, do the utmost, be at pains, give one's all. So the most endeavoring, because it ain't always going to be easy, man. It's not going to be easy. I'm married. I mean, brother, we're both married, man. Brothers know, right? And you know, if you're married, every day's not a day in the sunshine, man. Right? So you have to endeavor, make an effort to keep that unity there, man. And there are many ways to do so, right? Endeavoring to keep the unity of the spirit and the bond of peace, man. You got it, King.
And to touch on that, to keep that peace, this is the book of Matthew, chapter 9 and verse number 29. And you have to have faith in what it is that you're praying for and hoping for in a marriage. You know, you don't want to be quick to throw in the towel, quick to turn your back, quick to give up, quick to run away. You know, the Lord is going to overthrow you and essentially give you over to your ruin. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 9 and verse number 29. Then touch he their eyes, saying, according to your faith, be it unto you. So the Lord oft times, may heal you or bless you or give you just according to your faith. If you have little faith, you may receive little blessing, man. You have great faith, you may believe a lot, you may have long suffering in the rain, tumults, confusion, right? You might have to go to a council, you might have to read, you might have to pray, fast. All of these situations, you can't lack faith in going through all of that. You don't want to just move through the motions on autopilot mode. Okay, I read. What's next? I fasted. What's next? I already got counsel. What's next? You have a defeatist mentality and no faith in Yahweh Shem Yahushua. The Lord said, according to your faith, be it unto you. So you got to have faith that the Lord can heal your marriage and all things, man. It's nothing too hard for the Lord. There's no situation, right? You could be poor. You may not have any food, right? You may have lost your job, right? Your wife may be suffering a loss in her family, or you may be going through all type of depression, demons, and troubles and afflictions. But there's nothing too hard for the Lord. Once y'all both come together under Yahweh Shai, you understand, and you have faith in that, hey, the Lord is going to bless you and heal you. Right? This is the book of Romans, right? Chapter 2 and verse 1 says, therefore thou art inexcusable, O man, whosoever thou art that judges, and wherein thou judgest another, thou condemnest thyself, for thou that judgest doest the same things. So you don't want to move in a hypocrite spirit too in a marriage. You don't want to be the main one saying to read, pray, and fast and stay in the spirit, but you're the main one out the spirit. The main one pointing the finger, shaking the hand, the main one slamming the door, and expect your wife to always be in the spirit, or vice versa. Your wife can't just be submissive and on fire for the Lord. You're doing God knows what, or vice versa, whatever the case may be. You don't want to be a hypocrite in the eyes of man or the Lord. It says, but we are sure that judgment of Yahweh is according to truth against them which commit such things. It says, and thinkest thou this, O man, that judges them which doeth such things and doest the same, that thou shalt escape the judgment of God. So that's why a lot of the times the Lord may overthrow a marriage and give it unto ruin. Right? If a man isn't holding himself diligent in the fear of the Most High, his house will soon be overthrown. So the Most High, he'll jam you up by you being a hypocrite, a liar, living a double life, having secret sins, doing all things, in the dark that the Lord is bringing to light. Whether it be by example of what you have done or whether it be by the fruit that declareth on the tree.
Con, that's right. That's right.
That the Lord is bringing to light. Whether it be by example of what you have done,
King.
by the fruit that declareth on the tree.
Can you hear us, brother?
Right. That the Lord is bringing to light. Whether it be by example.
Shalom, shalom.
Hey, brother, you might have to turn the audio down in the background.
You hear me?
Khan King, Shalom. How about Shemel Shai Barakathah?
Shalom.
Shalom.
What's going on, brother?
My question was, in the book of Susanna, is that the same Daniel in the book of in the Old Testament? I mean, the Old Testament. Is it the same Daniel in the book of Susanna? That's my question.
Khan, that's the same Daniel.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me actually go there real quick. Right, that's the same Daniel. And Daniel actually saved the situation.
Right.
Right. Daniel actually saved the marriage. Now I'm gonna jump down in history, Susanna. This is Daniel. Now when you read, if you have a I'm gonna pull it up in this, right, in the actual apocrypha to give brothers. Right. This is if you have a regular apocrypha, right, it says the history of Susanna, and I'm gonna read what's in this small print right here, right, so brothers can tie that gap of history. It says, set the history of Susanna set apart from the beginning of Daniel, because it is not in the Hebrew, as neither the narrations of Bel and the dragon. Right, so it wasn't in the Hebrew, but it was an account that was translated and it was added as part of the canonical books. But it's the exact same Daniel that you read about, of course, in those 12 chapters of Daniel.
All right, cool.
And I just want to get this. And when you read, it's the same spirit that Daniel had in the Old Testament. Same wisdom, ingenuity, dissolver of doubts, same exact spirit. Now this is History Susanna, chapter 1 and verse. I'm gonna start at 45. Therefore, when she was led to be put to death, the Lord raised up the Holy Spirit of a young youth, whose name was Daniel, who cried with a loud voice, I am clear from the blood of this woman. Then all the people turned them toward him and said, what mean these words that thou hast spoken? And he, standing in the midst of them, said, are ye such fools, ye sons of Israel, so like that without examination or knowledge of the truth, ye have condemned a daughter of Israel. Return again to the place of judgment, for they have borne false witness against her. Right, so that's the exact same spirit that you read about in the regular accounts of Daniel.
Appreciate that.
God. You had something, Ryan?
I can.
All right, that's all you had, King?
That's all I had, because the name and the Apocrypha, the Joachim, his name, is spelt a little different in the other books. The other
Yeah, a
books.
lot of those names in the Apocrypha, some names in the Apocrypha are spelled a little bit different due to the translation in the Greek. Like when you go to Second Esdras, a key account is like Second Esdras, the first chapter, right? 38 on down, the Most High gives you accounts of the 12 so-called 12 minor prophets, right? And the names are going to be spelled differently. You'll read about Abdias, Agaius, Malachi, spelled with the Y on the end of it. A lot of these names, let me actually just read it real quick, right? Let me get this account. This is Second Esdras, chapter 1 and 30. Now I'll read 38. And now, brother, behold, what glory, and see the people that cometh from the east, unto whom I will give for leaders Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Oseas, but we know Oseas is Hosea. Amos and Micah, which is Micah. Joel, Abdias, which is Obadiah, and Jonas, that's Jonah. Nahum and Habakkuk, which is Habakkuk. Sophonias, which is Zephaniah. Agaius, that's Haggai. Zachary, which is Zechariah, and Malachi, which is called also an angel of the Lord. So that's due to the Greek and the Latin as it was translated into that language. A lot of those names are spelled a little bit differently.
Mighty. Appreciate that, man.
Kind of all praise to the Most High. All praise.
All praise.
All right, King. Yahweh Bashmir Shabbat Shalom. All right, Khan. All right, the brother came. Well, it was another brother that hopped on too. Oh, he kind of asked backstage. Brother, okay. Okay, Khan. You see that? So that was a good question. And that, like we brought out, Daniel actually saved the marriage, man. Right? They charged Susanna with adultery. But her husband trusted in her, man. When you read that account, it says there was never raised such a report against Susanna. Right? So Daniel actually saved the marriage, man, and condemned the wicked and delivered the innocent and the upright, man. So, and he didn't have to sit there and give a whole deal. He just stood up for what was right, man. Because you may be in a situation where somebody is bringing false charges or false accusations, and you have to stand up for what's right, man. Right? So let me get this precept. And again, for those who do have questions, mainly questions that pertain to the topic of the live, right? You can come up, we'll bring you up, and we'll deal with the questions accordingly. And questions that may not pertain to the topic, we may hold off on those and deal with those in due season, right? So let me get this precept. So the brother asked a good question because that question actually pertains to the topic at hand. You have something, Brian? Okay, Con. So I want to go back to where we was at before I go back to Susanna. I want to go back to Ephesians, the 5th chapter. All right, so let's go back to Ephesians. And if you haven't read History of Susanna, that's a beautiful book, man. Beautiful account of the faith that Susanna had and the spirit that Daniel had, man. That the Most High gave both of those individuals that they could be delivered from that foresaid evil, man. So let's go back to Ephesians, the 5th chapter, right? Ephesians chapter 5, and I'm going to start at verse 21, right? I'm going to start at 20. Ephesians 5:20. Giving thanks always for all things unto the Most High and the Father in the name of our Lord Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, submitting yourselves to one another in the fear of the Most High. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord. So a wife she's supposed to submit herself unto her husband. When it says as unto the Lord, it means the same way that you look at the Lord, Yahweh, and how you reverence him is how you're equally supposed to reverence your husband, right? Not a lot, I don't want to say a lot, but there may be sisters out there who have a spirit where they don't actually look at their husband the same way that they look at Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. And that's completely off, right? Because it didn't say, let me read that again. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands. Then you got some wives who submit unto other men, right? It's a feast day, and your husband say, hey, baby, let me get that, can you have me, a napkin, right? And she kind of look at you up and down. Then the next brother, the elder, the camp, right? Say, hey, look, let me get that napkin. Oh, okay, con. And then she reach and get a napkin to the elder of the congregation, and then her husband sit up there wiping his with his beard, telling you play too much, man. That's my woman. She always do that. All right, she play too much. I love that. Right? No, man. You have to submit unto your own husband. You can't be submitting to a whole bunch of different men. As soon as you walk into a room, 1,000 men are pulling you 1,000 ways. Right? Then your husband trying to figure out where you at. And everywhere you go, you getting men all these different things, man. Showing them the fringes on your dress, or paying for drinks for them, man. Buying them gifts. And your husband's ragtime just walking in, man. God knows what. Right? So you want to submit unto your own husband, but submit unto him, not like a rail from down the street. Not like your so-called exes who broke your heart in the past, man. Right? Not like who you saw on TV. You're supposed to look at your husband, despite what flaws you may see in him, and through faith and through fear, you're supposed to look at him and say, that's my Lord. And look at him like you would look at Yahweh Shah. That's a monumental commandment for our sisters, man. Right? You got it, Ryan.
Come. And I want to get Ephesians chapter 4, right, in verse number 29. Right? It says, let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. So you don't want to have corrupt communication when you in the house with your woman, man. Just say, hey, and then she kind of looking around. Right? You say just calling her out her name. Hey, a lot of brothers, they abuse the power that you possess through Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and they use it on the left-hand side. Like your so-called manager, man. He's telling you to clock in, stay in late, right? Grab that. It's not even your job description, man. And what are you thinking in the back of your head, man? All the things you would do to him, man. You damn punch him in the face. You're thinking all of these things. How much more your woman? And the Lord said, provoke not your children to wrath. You don't want to provoke your woman to go off, man. There's no excuse for her to go off, but you don't want to be a provoker in the house. You don't want to be a lion in your house. You don't want to be screaming, yelling, banging your fist on the table, blurting out lewd things, pointing and just telling her to get every 5 seconds and I'm hungry. What's for dinner? Speaking in a certain way to where it's just corrupt communication. It's not wise. It's not eloquent, right? The way you're coming across is off, man. And let me get this quick precept. The Lord said in the book of Sirach, it's the book of Sirach, chapter 18 and verse number 15. It says, my son, blemish not thy good deeds, neither use uncomfortable words when thou givest anything. So you don't want to use uncomfortable words. Just because you're not cussing, you're not calling somebody the B word, you're not saying F this, you're not speaking vulgar language, don't mean that you can't use uncomfortable words. No, uncomfortable words is a run-on joke that just never ends about she needs to lose her weight, or her hair isn't long enough, or she stinks, or just uncomfortable words that beat down her mentality, man, and cause her to feel some type of way and bring spirits and grief and trouble upon her. It says in verse 30, and grieve not the Holy Spirit of God, whereby ye are sealed unto the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. That's not just advice, man. That's a must. If you're not keeping these things, having the fruit of the Spirit in your household, then the fruits of wickedness are going to be declared on your tree. You can evidently tell, your marriage by if you're keeping these things. Bitterness is not letting things go. You're bitter about the past. You're bitter about what happened yesterday. You're bitter about earlier on in today. It'll cause through your visage, how you speak, how you come across. If you want to read, if you want to be attached and do things together. If you're bitter, it's going to overthrow things. And wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be ye kind one to another. So the woman not just supposed to serve the man all day while the man could just be evil. He could corrupt communication, he could yell, he could be a demonic being, man. And the Lord said, be ye kind one to another. And that's things that we have to learn more and more as we read the scriptures. You want to have a balanced body, Salaki, a balanced diet in this thing. You don't want to just read all meat and all in-depth breakdowns, but you don't even know how to treat your wife, man, or your children. You don't want to be overthrown. It says, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Yahweh, for Yahweh's sake, have forgiven you. And it's okay to be tender-hearted, man. Hey, that same hug you may give your child when they fall, they're crying. Hey, that's a tender-hearted hug. You got to have that same type of emotion and feeling with your wife. She may fall short of things, may not understand the scriptures. She's the weaker vessel. All of these things may trouble her. You have to be that strong, staying rock and tender-hearted in certain situations, being compassionate, loving, right, dedicated to fix whatever problem there is. I mean, you're a master builder. The women aren't going to put on a hard hat and get a tool and just start digging, wear a mask while she's coughing and continue build while you're laying on the couch, man. And the Lord said the men are the master builders on the foundation of Yahweh. So whatever's going on, you want to make sure through the spirit, right, that you're the one fixing it to the best of your ability. And with that being said, and one more point, the brother could touch on it if you want, but a house, you don't want to have a house with no windows in it. You don't want to be so blocked off from the world that nobody knows anything. Your woman can't speak to anybody and things are just shut. It's a reason why houses have windows, right? People should be able to help, direct, give counsel, be able to see certain things that may be off to help you with, right? To help your house continue to stay on foundation, on solid ground. But you got it.
God, and I want to get this precept. This First Peter, the 3rd chapter, right? This First Peter chapter 3 and verse 7. It reads, likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel, and as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered. So when it says dwell with them according to knowledge, that's not the knowledge your uncle gave you, man, right? From who just got out of prison. It's not the knowledge your pastor gave you, man, right? Or some drunk, the drunk neighborhood mechanic, man, who stays up the street. The knowledge that it's talking about, let's go to Sirach chapter 19 and 19, right? That's not the knowledge from Dr. Phil. That's not what Oprah said, right? That's not the knowledge from somebody of the world. That's the knowledge of the law, statutes, and the commandments. So when you dwell with them according to knowledge, it means in your household, you should be applying the law, statutes, and the commandments in your marriage, right? Not something you saw off of TV, not something that you saw somebody in some TV show do or some movie. But if you're not living by Yahweh Bashmiah Shai, then you're outright going off, man. And you're dwelling with them according to your own understanding, right? And that's why you're going to fall, right? This Ecclesiasticus chapter 19 and verse 19. That's why marriage in Israel, man, and the truth, that has damn near a higher divorce rate than Jake in the world. And Jake in the world, you got a high divorce rate, man. You got that same thing in Israel, man. You got brothers that's been married 6 times, woman that's had 8 husbands. You was in this camp, then you was in that camp, then you was in this camp, then you was in that congregation. You have 4 husbands, you know? So there's a lot of madness going on because there's a lot of lust in Israel. There's a lot of lust built up inside of these individuals, man. And you're just looking for a good time, right? Just looking to do God knows what with the daughters of Zion and vice versa. You got the daughters of Zion, just, you know, you're looking at a beard, man. And how many precepts his brother know? You know? Can you break this down for me? Right? Can you show me what this scripture is talking about? And then you end up trying to set up a plan or set up a move, and then God knows what happens, man. Right? But you husbands, you got to do with your wife according to the law. This is Sirach chapter 19 and 19. The knowledge of the commandments of the Lord is the doctrine of life, and they that do the things that please him shall receive the fruit of the tree of immortality. Right? So you have to dwell with them according to the knowledge of the commandments of the Lord. Right? Because there are laws that deal with rebuke. There are laws that deal with forgiveness. There are laws that deal with mercy. There are laws that deal with not holding grudges, avenging yourself. Right? These are all laws that have to be applied. Right? You got tit for tat in marriages. You got the silent treatment in marriages. What scripture says give your husband a silent treatment? Right? What scripture says go downstairs in the basement and lock the room, lock the door, and just do God knows what, man? You know? You're on the phone with 5 sisters in the basement on speakerphone, and the wife are you going to come upstairs? Are you going to come upstairs? And all you is, yeah, I like that precept too. And that's all she hear. Lord, right? And it's just chatter in the background, man. And music turned up, man. The damn, what they call that? The man, what was that stuff, man? Jake, oh man, I can't remember, but Jake used to be on the phone talking to the old lady, and the music was playing in the background. All right, I don't know if you remember what they would call it on the radio, right? You brothers, you know what it is. You know what I'm talking about. Quiet storm, right? I don't know if y'all had the quiet storm, but you got the damn quiet storm on blast, man. Right? Sitting up there talking to 4 women.
It's like that deep, mysterious, demonic voice on the air, man.
Right.
On the tracks.
I'm not even going to do it, but that's what Jake be doing, man. So you gotta, it says, dwell with them according to knowledge. All right. Reading on. Giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel. Does that mean when it says give honor, a lot of Jakes, that means, oh, I gotta exalt I gotta put her on a pedestal, right? I have to honor her. Then you start bow. That's not what it's talking about. Giving honor unto your wife as unto the weaker vessel is understanding the same dynamic of how Yahweh Shai deals with the church. The Lord is patient with the church. The Lord is merciful to the church. The Lord knows that we're but dust. There are 1,000 precepts we could pull how the Most High said he remembers that we're but dust, and our days are as the shadow. So he multiplied mercy and mercy, right? So the Lord gives honor unto us as unto the weaker vessel. Because we know there are things that we do where we should get put to death. And the Most High winks at our transgressions at times, man. Right? Understanding that we're not on a level. We're just clay, crushed before the moth. So you have to look at your wife, and it's easy. You don't know that breakdown. You got brothers saying that. You don't know that? Wow, what an idiot, right? And you calling your wife out of her name, huh? Right? You're so slow. And you keep going to Sirach chapter 11 and 12. Every time she gets something wrong, you go to Sirach chapter 11 and 12. Now she got her head down, right? Then you go to Mephibosheth, and he was lame on his feet. And you breaking down that she lame on her path and this truth, and you like Mephibosheth to the house. So you just manipulating the scriptures and beating her down and making her feel bad, man. That's not what it means when it says giving honor to your wife as unto the weaker vessel, right? It reads, and as being heirs together of the grace of life, because she's in this truth the same way that you in this truth, right? That's what this means, and being heirs together of the grace of life. You have to understand that Yahweh Bashmi Awashai has brought her into this knowledge and you into this knowledge, man. Y'all are heirs together. You know, it's not like you're in the truth by yourself and she's just some fly on the wall. Y'all are both in this thing. The Most High chose her, man. A lot of brothers forget that the Most High woke this daughter Zion up, and she has gifts and talents, and the Most High sees something in her, man, and brought her into this thing. And you got to remember that, man. A lot of brothers forget how the Most High could be dealing with your woman. And my woman get a lot of dreams, man. She get dreams of chariots, and this, a high level of discernment and different things. And a husband, you have to notice the traits and the gifts that your woman has, and say, "Well, man, the Most High, he be dealing with her, man." You can't just look at your woman like a rock, right? Let me read on. That's what this means as being. Let me read that again. As unto the weaker vessel, as being heirs together of the grace of life. So the Lord is humbling the man and letting him know that, look, this woman is the weaker vessel, but she's also an heir of the grace of life. The Lord called her into this thing too. It reads that your prayers be not hindered. Now here you are repenting for your sins, and the Lord isn't hearing that, man. You're reading and you're studying and you're doing all of this fasting and you're watching all of these breakdowns and you're shaking the hand, and meanwhile you're waxing worse and worse, and you're trying to figure out why. You fast some more. You're the 3-day fast. You're reading 10 chapters now. You're holding 4 camps. You're shaking the hand a little bit harder, and your life is still spiraling out of control. You get fired from your job, right? You're dealing with all types of demons now. You got infirmities out of nowhere. Your woman, she thinking about leaving and moving out. Because, brother, every time you was repenting and praying, it wasn't being heard for 6 months. You might as well went 6 months without prayer. So you about to fall out the truth. Go 6 months without praying. You out of here, man. So if you're not following 1 Peter chapter 3 and 7, you're on your way out the truth. And that's according to the Most High. You got it, King.
Come. And to touch on that too, if your prayers aren't being heard, you have no type of help spiritually. You're just like in the middle of the ocean with no type of protection, no type of stay. You're just gonna drown. Right? It's the book of James, chapter 3 and verse 13. Who is a wise man and endued with knowledge among you? Let him shoot it out of good conversation of his works with meekness and wisdom. But if ye have bitter envying and strife in your hearts, glory not and lie not against the truth. So, a lot of people, they have things deep down within themselves, deep down in their hearts and their spirits. And those things start to sit there, man. It's like death. It sits there and it starts to grow into like the Lord said, don't let the evil grain of the evil seed, paraphrase it greatly, grow in you, man. Because you don't let something grow, then it starts to sprout, then it starts to bud, then it starts to grow. Next thing you know, it starts to bring forth all these other spirits, hatred, envy, strife. There's just nothing but bitterness and envy in your heart. Said this wisdom descendeth not from above, but is earthly. Why did the Lord say this wisdom descendeth not from above? Because you may get advice from somebody. You may get counsel from the TV. You may watch a TV show. You may lean on your own understanding, but that's not the wisdom of the Lord. Some things may sound exactly right, man. You may watch a TV show. They got an old movie called Beauty Shop, man, with Queen Latifah, and they just go in there cackling, joking, screaming, dancing. It's just a hate man movie. Just come in there. What did he do? Right? They twirling on a telephone cord in there, talking, giving each other counsel. None of them have a man. No successful relationships, interracial marriages. Damn, all hell is breaking loose. Your husband's locked up. You can't even pay rent, but yet they're giving you advice. This is earthly, devilish wisdom that you may receive through your auntie, your uncle, your cousin, right? Your father, people of the world, at your job. It says, from not from above, but is earthly, sensual, devilish. For where envy and strife is, there is confusion in every evil work. So when you're striving back and forth about a matter and bucking up and things are not going in the spirit of Yahweh, there's every evil work there, man. Let me get this quick precept in Proverbs, right? Chapter 25, right? Because, I mean, that thing could lead to death, essentially. It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 25, right? In verse number 8, it says, go not forth hastily to strive, lest thou know not what to do in the end thereof. Meaning you're going to put yourself in a position where you're going to die, man. Make it hit by a car. How many videos have you seen of Eve, right, driving, trying to run Jake over, man? Started with a conversation. Then they got angry at one another. Now they striving on the phone. Now somebody's pulling up. Now somebody's angry. Next thing you know, a knife being pulled and the car then shifted in the drive. Hey, the Lord said, go not hastily to strive, lest thou know not what to do in the end thereof. You may strive with a police officer, now you're in prison. You don't know what to do thereof now. You may strive with, your husband, and God forbid, a demon hop on him and do God knows what to you physically. Don't strive with your brother, and more definitely, man, your wife. It says, lest thou know not to do in the end thereof, when thy neighbor hath put thee to shame. So your neighbor could end up putting you to shame by striving against him, huh? And that's physical, that's spiritual. I mean, you don't know what can happen by striving. The Lord said you don't even know what's going to happen in the end thereof. It can get so turned up that your wife leave and she never comes back again. And there was a movie, it's a Tyler Perry movie. I don't remember it. I think it's Why Did I Get Married Too, or one, where he argued with Janet Jackson. He left out of the job, and then he got hit by a car, man. So they're striving at the end of the movie, going back and forth, right? They're angry and upset at one another. He storms out, hops in the car, swerves off in traffic with anger and spirits and demons on him. Next thing you know, he gets smacked by an 18-wheeler. So you don't never know what the spirit the Lord is going to give you over to by striving.
Yeah, and a lot of people like striving, man. Some people they just like conflict, right? You can't help yourself. You got to get that last word in. You got to get that one up. You got to prove your point, man. You have to react to everything. There's people like that, man. Right? Somebody say something, then you say something. They slam the door, then you slam the door louder. Then they open and slam, then y'all just slamming the door all night, man. Whoever can slam the door the loudest. Then she pick up, I'm taking the kids. Then you take one of the kids. And then she reach and grab the kids, and then you drop the baby on the floor. Then all hell break loose, man. And a lot of things can spiral out of control. You seen that movie, He Got Game, man. You didn't see He Got Game with Ray Allen's his dad was Denzel Washington in the movie, man. And I can't remember the mother, the actress, her name, but they kind of got into it. It happened just like that, man. Just like that. Next thing you know, they argue and they strive and they pushing. He kind of pushed her, and then she kind of hit her head and gave up the ghost, man. And this guy did time. Long time. He wanted his son's life. He killed his wife because he didn't know how not to strive. He didn't know how to rule over his spirit. He was in prison, man. Then tried to get back in his son's life, and his son really didn't want to deal with him like that. God forbid, man. Your life is over, and from one bad decision, one rash decision. Next thing you know, you were supposed to be in the truth, but now you're in prison. Right? Where's that, bro? He got locked up. Oh, what happened? He was out there teaching. No, he beat his wife. Right? He ran her over. And there was a brother that almost ran over his woman, man. Right? So these things happen. Right? Let's go. Let's go to 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse. I'm gonna read 8. Actually, I'm going to go to Ecclesiasticus chapter 28. Right? This Ecclesiasticus chapter 28 and verse 1. He that revengeth shall find vengeance from the Lord, and he will surely keep his sins in remembrance. So the Most High is not with the tit for tat in a marriage, man. He's not with the rendering evil for evil, right? He's not with the, oh, well, he didn't do this for me, so I'm not cooking them food tonight, right? You normally cook dinner every night. He forgot to take out the trash. So he forgot to take out the trash the previous day. All right, said he was going to do it. He fell asleep. He got tired. He worked, long hours. So he come in from work and there's no food in the house. Hey, I saw a clip like that, man. I think it was on Twitter or Instagram. One of these clips, this man worked, I think he pulled 12 hours, man. And he came home and his woman was just eating, I think she was eating stuffed crust or something, man, in front of his face. And then he was hot, man. He was mad. He said, well, look, I was working 12 hours. You could at least made me something. You could have made me something to eat. I've been slaving all day. And I believe she tried to give him a piece of, I think it was some pizza, some stuffed crust or whatever, some deep dish, and tried to give it to him after she bit off of it, man. So you got a lot of foul situations going on. So the Most High is not dealing with vengeance in this truth, man. I ain't paying the light bill. I ain't paying. You're gonna be in the dark tonight, right? So you stop paying all of the bills, man. We both gonna be in the dark then. So now you're sitting up there with no water. Apologize. I'll pay the water bill, right? Say sorry. We get lights on in the house. You better go find them candles. I got my phone, right? Jake, you can get real childish and eat, man. You can get real childish in a marriage. Sit up there with the lights off. You're both looking crazy, man. In the dark, still mad, bumping into stuff, man. Because y'all keep going tit for tat. Let me read on. Forgive thy neighbor the hurt that he hath done unto thee. So shall thy sins also be forgiven when thou prayest. One man beareth hatred against another, and doth he seek pardon from the Lord. So you're not going to receive any forgiveness from Yahweh Bashmah if you can't forgive your wife. You're holding on to what she did 8 months ago. Right? 8 months ago. She burnt the unleavened bread 8 months ago. And you still holding on to it, man. You just hold, and then you might have done something that she's still holding on to. Remember that time? February 10th. Right? Yeah, we was in front of the so-and-so. Y'all been made up. Y'all been talked about it. Y'all been water over the bridge, but she causing a flood again, man. Flooding the bridge. Right? Let me read on. One man beareth hatred against another, and doth he seek pardon from the Lord. He showeth no mercy to a man which is like himself, and doth he ask forgiveness of his own sins? Right? So you got to exercise mercy and forgiveness too, man, and not render evil for evil, tit for tat. I know one more count. I know a woman, she poisoned her husband, man. She poisoned this food. Like you was talking about that Tyler Perry movie, they did well, that was a different situation. One of these movies, man, they threw it was a movie, they threw baby oil on the floor. Right? He got out the shower and he started slipping on the baby oil and she started whipping them with a damn whip, man. One of them, the dude was taking a bath and she threw the toaster in there while he was taking a bath. You had the one where they threw hot grits at this brother. You got a lot of evil for evil in this truth, man. A lot of get back. Right now, some of those situations was extreme, but it's still not condoning it, man. Right? No throwing baby oil on the floor where your husband taking a shower, man. Slipping in, and then you start whipping him and beating him, and he can't get up. Right? But you got it, King.
God. It's the
And
book
this
of First Peter.
one more point, Slucky.
Okay.
And a lot of you Jakes and Eves, you like to expose each other. I'm gonna expose you. I'm gonna go live on you. Right? The Lord is not dealing with that going live and that exposing spirit, man. This is the great age of I'm gonna expose you. I'm gonna go live on you. Everybody gonna know. Right? The Lord isn't dealing with that either, man. But you got it, Slucky.
Okay. It's the book of First Peter, chapter 3, and verse number 9. It says, finally, be ye all of one mind, having compassion one on another, love as brethren, be pitiful and courteous. So you got to be pitiful in certain situations, man. Yeah, your wife, she gonna fall. Your wife, she gonna trip. Your husband, he's gonna trip, man. It may be a while where you might have to exercise long suffering for over months at a time. What scripture says that thou shalt have afflictions for only 4 days? It's not in the Bible, man. Long suffering may happen for weeks at a time. Look how long that Toba was blind for, man. That's a very 8 years. That's a very long time to be in a situation to have hope and fear, to the Lord, man. And you got to really be in a situation long forbearing. It says, not rendering evil for evil, nor railing for railing, but contrariwise blessing, knowing that ye are thereunto called, that ye should inherit a blessing. So, like we keep going into, you don't want to have that railing spirit. You're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And you don't want to be the husband that never gets anything wrong. You're always right. Your wife can't correct you. She can't tell you, when you have erred. She can't tell you something that's beneficial to you, right? Because you're too proud and you're just too mighty, and nobody can tell you anything, man. But Abraham back on earth, right? Let me get this quick precept, right? It's the book of Proverbs chapter 18 and verse number 17. He that is first in his own cause seemeth just. So if you're first in your own cause all the time, you're just the first one to be right, the first one to get there, the first one to slam your fist down, the first one to get the answer right. You got Jake, they just always want to be the first or the last one to say something, to just be sealing the deal on a certain situation. Hey, Solomon wrote about men like you, man. The Lord said, he that is first in his own cause seemeth just, but his neighbor cometh in search of him. Meaning, you're going to have somebody that searches you. If you got a friend that's always right, you're going to think within yourself, why is he always right? How come he's never wrong? How come he never falls? How come he's always perfect? How come in every situation, every point, everything that's going on, he has the right answer all the time? He can never be reproved. He can never be corrected. He can never be shown a better path or a better way. I gotta search this out, man, because this can't be true. He's not Yahusha. How in the world could this happen? And you don't want to put a spirit on your wife, man, because now she's going to search you, man. Now she's going to have something to say. Now it's going to bring about contention by you always ruling too damn rigorous, man. You don't want to be the first in every cause. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 20, and verse number 8. He that useth many words shall be abhorred. So as a woman or a man, you don't want to use too many words. So guess what? You know what? I fell short. I'm going to do this better. I'm going to do that better. And then you sit your wife down for a 9-hour conversation like this. Yeah. And this was going to change. And she was sitting up there laying down the law. You're using many words. She's going to hate you within herself. You're placing spirits up, and vice versa. Your husband, he may do something, he may fall short, he may not do something, understand something. You don't want to be a cackling woman, just using many words. It says, and he that taketh to himself authority, therein shall be hated. So you don't want to over abuse and take to authority in many matters that don't concern the authority to be taken in the first place, because it'll overthrow you. You're sitting up there taking to yourself to authority over matters that don't even need that, when it could be a nice, decent, conversation through the spirit, But you got it, King. And shalom, shalom. I don't know if that's a brother or a sister that just hopped on through the spirit. Can brothers hear me? Can brothers hear me? Can brothers hear me? Okay, Con. Yeah, the comment board said they can hear me. All praise to the Most High. Right, Salakia. All right, let me get this other quick precept through the Spirit. Right, make sure we're not having no technical difficulties. Making sure the word going out through sincerity and the truth. So all of these things are written for our learning sake, that we may do the work of the Lord effectively, man, and rule our houses in order. Right, let me go to the book of Sirach, right, chapter 26. It's the book of Sirach, right, chapter 26 and verse number 14. A silent and loving woman is a gift of the Lord, and there is nothing so much worth as a mind well instructed. So you want, as a woman, you want to be able to be instructed. You want to be strong-minded and overly opinionated and everything, man. Your husband may say something, you may disagree, but your input's not always valid and always used and always needed all the time, man. If I ask my child something, or you may be at work and your manager's not really acquiring your input, man, if he wants the chairs over there. Or if you tell your child to wash the dishes, hey, no one wants to hear, anything to oppose or come against that. You want to make sure that whatever spirit, that you're in is a submissive one as a woman. It says, and there is nothing so much worth, meaning all of the gold, the silver, all of the vacations, the rubies, the diamonds. A woman that's well instructed in order, she's an asset to the house. She brings in groceries, she cooks them, she sews, she teaches the young children. So a mind well instructed in the ways of Yahweh Shem Yahushua and under the ordinance of her husband, that's above all riches. But you got it, King.
No, that's right. That's right. All praise to the Most High. Let me see if I can get this actual question or this individual. Adriana, can you hear us? Okay, I'm not sure if they can hear us or not. Let me see. Okay, they got so the question's in the background, right? Shalom, I came into the truth while in a relationship with my boyfriend. I shared the truth with him and he's coming along. I mentioned we should get married in order to be right with the Most High. Does he already consider my husband? How long should I observe the time to see if he will ask me to marry him? So I'm going to read it again. I'm going to read the question again. All right, so Shalom. I came into the truth, and all right, you can break it down and dissect it if you want to, or if you want to deal with each point, or you want to deal with it as a whole, or we can get in there if you want to wait. Regardless, right? I came into the truth while in the relationship with my boyfriend. Now, I do want to touch on that point. And it's truth, there's no such thing as boyfriends and girlfriends, right? Those are titles of the world, right? I just want to put that out there because that's something that permits when there's boyfriends and girlfriends, that permits whoredom and whoremongering. Because boyfriend and girlfriend, you can break up. You could be dealing with they call it, we taking a break. We broke up. You was laying down with this woman for God knows how long. We broke up. Right? It's not you, it's me. I'm moving on. Then you got a woman that could be dealing with a man, and you was laying down with this man talking about I'm moving on. It's over between us. Things aren't really working out. Right? And y'all was laying down together to say the least, man. Right? Let me get this quick precept on that. I just want to touch on that point. So we have to get rid of this. Is not knocking the sister Adriana. This is just edification, instruction. Right? This is a learning curve, for lack of better terms, that we need to understand that there are no such things as boyfriend or girlfriend. Right? This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 23 and verse 23. Let me read 22. Thus it shall go also with the wife that leaveth her husband and bringeth in an heir by another. Right. So you have a wife and you have a husband. All right, I just want to touch on that. Now, what makes somebody, because we could answer this question simply by dealing with the statement, I came into the truth in a relationship with my boyfriend, right? I shared the truth with him and he's coming along. I mentioned we should get married in order to be right with the Most High. Now, I'm going to put this out there. When you lay down with a woman or a woman lays down with a man, guess what? Y'all are married, right? There's no big, oh, well, I'm waiting for him to ask to marry. I am waiting to see if he's going to ask to marry me, right? And he gets on one knee and, he puts it on the Jumbotron, on the kiss cam, take it to the big game where he hides your ring in the cupcake. Y'all go out to Ruth Chris and you bite into it in the cupcake and what's this? And, you take it out or it's in a champagne glass or, he say, look at that. He turned around, he's on one knee and everybody's turning around and clapping their hands and everybody's in your business, man. Right? So, so in the ancient world, when a man laid down with a woman, that's when you are consummating a marriage. All right, and I want to get one precept on that. Let me just get one quick precept. Right, this is the book of Genesis. All right, let's prove that real quick. Bring them back. Might be having some technical difficulties. And if you could hear us, sister, if you want to add to or bring anything that we may not know, you're more than welcome to put that out there. But I want to bring this out first and foremost. This is Genesis chapter 24, because we could be missing some points. Maybe we really don't know what's going on. I'm just going off of the statement right here, right? And Isaac, Genesis 24:67, and Isaac brought her, right? That is Rebecca, and to his mother Sarah's tent, and took Rebecca, and she became his wife, and he loved her. And Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. So when I say laid down, they were intimate, right? They had sex, if you can understand, right? I just want to put that out there. Once they laid down together, that's when Rebecca became Isaac's wife. All right. So both of y'all have to understand that, look, we laid down together, we're married. Anything outside of that is lewdness, right? And fornication. You got it, King.
And to touch on another aspect of it, a man that is in his truth and a man that loves you and I'm growing to love you each and every day, his mind is going to be upon courting you. That's not anything you will have to observe or guess. If the man is making up his mind, I'm gonna court this woman, and there's no time frame on courting. Courting could be anywhere from 8 months to 4 years. It could be anywhere from however deemed long the situation may take for that man and that woman. But this is the mindset of our ancient, women in the scriptures. It's Tobit chapter 3 and verse number 10. It says, when she heard these things, she was very sorrowful, so that she thought to have strangled herself. And she said, I am the only daughter of my father, and if I do this, it shall be a reproach unto me, and I shall bring his old age with sorrow unto the grave. Then she prayed toward the window and said, blessed art thou, O Yahweh my God, for thine only and glorious name is blessed and honorable forever. Let all thy works praise thee forever. Right? Jumping down, right, to verse number 14. Thou knowest, Lord, that I am pure from all sin with man, and that I never polluted my name, nor the name of my father in the land of my captivity. I am the only daughter of my father. So she's praying after understanding that Asmodeus has killed 7 of her husbands that she was betrothed to. So it was a very high and weightier matter in the ancient world to get married. That wasn't something to just do for fun or, you're tangling around with it and you're trying to make up your mind. Right? A man, he's stroking his beard. A woman, she's twisting her hair. And we're just going to wait around to see where fate lies us. This woman was thinking about killing herself. This is a very deep thing. So, marriage, there is no hiccups and no second chances with marriage. Once you're born again and you know exactly what marriage is, your mind's fully developed in this truth and fully persuaded under Yahweh Shem Yahushua and these laws, and you do the action and consecrate the marriage, then you will be bound to that man, to the chariots fly, or he gives up the ghost or you give up the ghost. So, I mean, she was praying toward the window, crying out, pleading on the behalf of the Lord, for a husband. So that's how serious and weightier this thing is. So, I mean, to wait around, the sister can explain, but to wait around, to double think, or for a man not to be direct about what he wants in the situation that he's trying to lay down before you, that would speak volumes alone.
God. Did the sister Adrian, did you want to speak or say anything? Was it enough to answer your questions? Is there something we're missing out on? I know you may not be able to speak. I know you were kind of able to put stuff in the I guess on the chat. But
Yeah, she just said the water in the chat.
okay, all right. All praise to the Most High. All right, so that's all praises. Okay, kind of. So yeah, next time, and that's it's for brothers and sisters that may be in that same situation, right? I know brothers that they've reached out and said, look, I want to get my wife a wedding ring. I'm saving up. I think they say you gotta in the world you gotta put aside like 2,000 every week or every other week for your for the wedding ring. Huh? Oh, he went to Jared's. Then you got women. He went to Jared's. It becomes a competition, man. That wedding ring, this wedding stuff for the world is only for the women, right? That's why they got shows like Bridezilla, and she's sitting up there acting a fool, man. Oh, this isn't right. I wanted roses. You brought tulips, and she flipping the table, man. They call that stuff Bridezilla. I get to choose who's on the wedding list. No, we're not bringing your father. And she crossed your father off the list, man. Your father's 65 years old. He has 2 more days on the earth. Nope. Cross him off, man. Right? I want a 3-tier cake, and I want this and that, and I want shrimp, and I want dolphins, and it becomes a woman thing, huh? And it becomes strictly about the bride. You also have these wedding rings that become frivolous, man, and it becomes a competition. All of the wives are sitting up there. Wow, look at that! Just sitting up there eating damn pastries, man. And having Sunday mimosas, bottomless mimosas, man, and Bloody Marys. Sitting up there looking at comparing their wedding rings. Wow, look at that. 18 karat so-and-so. You got the other sister who really don't have one. She kind of shy. She feel down and she don't know what's going on. And so all of that, buying your wife a wedding ring, first of all, that goes back to the Romans, right? When you look it up, man, that goes back to the ancient Romans. So you're dealing with, and you're more than welcome to kind of look that thing up. But you're more than welcome to study that and understand that the Most High is not dealing with one knee proposals. Because when you're on one knee, what does that mean? You're bowing down, right? Let me get this quick precept. That means you're making something your God, right? You're showing it obeisance. You're giving your strength over to it. This is Proverbs chapter 31. Because you got these brothers, man. I'm not about to go into rant. You got these brothers that, they'll rent out a whole, jumbotron, huh? Will you marry me? Wife talking about no. She's doing this. Get up. You're embarrassing yourself. And you're still on a one knee, man. Proverbs 31 and verse 3. Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings. So you brothers, expecting that you're waiting on the big day, right? You're putting $2,000 aside every week for 4 years to get your wife a wedding ring and wait till she's married to get married to you, man. You throwing her a bachelorette party? That's what she wanted, though, Ak. She wanted a bachelorette party. She said that there's only going to be one guy he dancing. He's going to come out the cake, and that's it. What's so bad about him popping up out the cake? And they're all going to sit on the couch and watch him just pop out the cake. All right, well, brother. All right, brother. If that's what you want to put, your $6,000 up for this guy to pop up out the cake at the bachelorette party, brother, you got to come out of the world, man. And it's truth that this is not the world. Read the accounts of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Take your mind out of the West and put it in the East. You got a King Fry. I'm going to rant. And we got another brother too as well. Want to come on?
Con, we could bring the brother up.
All right.
Shalom, brother.
Shalom, King.
Shalom.
How about Shmuel Shabbat?
Yeah, Bashim Shabbat.
Khan, I got a question. I hope it's not too far off topic. I had a sincere brother who asked me what was the Japhite tribe. He said they're the Edomites, right? So what's the difference? And I kind of had to put my hand over my mouth. I'm not sure if you guys are knowledgeable of this. I told him I thought it was the Asians. I think it's the Ashkenazi Jews, maybe the Edomites' cousins. So I was hoping you guys had some information on the Japhite tribe so I could get back with this brother. Said they brought it out in Genesis.
Okay, Khan. I mean, we could deal with it. So not to be too long, not to be too long-winded on it, so we can kind of still deal with questions that are at hand. But
Thank you.
for edification's sake, because brothers may still have that question. The Japhites are your so-called Pacific Islanders, right? We're going to maybe bring about 3 precepts on it or so, maybe more. They're your Pacific Islanders. They are your Samoans. These are just a few examples. Samoans, like the Rot's mother. The Rot's mother is Samoan, I believe. His father's a Jake. So you got the Samoans, you got the people of Fiji, right? You got the Pacific Islanders, right? These are different. The Aboriginals of Australia. These are different Japhetic tribes that you see today. You have there's a Micronesians, the people of Micronesia, the people of Polynesia, and that covers the Micronesians and the Polynesians of New Zealand, Australia, Pacific Islanders. Those are your different Japhetic tribes. Their ancient names are the Mycenaeans, the Minoans. They go back as late as the 12th century in the Bronze Age. And then around the time of Esau coming into Europe, the names they went by are the Samnites, Umbrians, the Etruscans, the Latins. These are all different Japhetic names throughout different courses of life. The first names I gave you are present day names. The second names I gave you are their ancient names around the 1200 BC or so. And then I gave you Samnites, Umbrians. Those are around the age of when the Romans went, or the so-called white man went into Europe and to start taking down those Japhites. Now, the only misconception of why people think that the Japheth is a so-called white man is because of Ashkenaz. So there's a term called Ashkenazi Jews, which is biblically inaccurate because Ashkenaz, pursuant to Genesis chapter 10, is through the lineage of Japheth. But to be a Jew, of course, you have to go through the lineage of Shem. So you can't be an Ashkenazi Jew. This is why people think that the white man is a Japhetic man because he's from Ashkenaz. Ashkenaz is the biblical ancient name of Germany. So when a so-called white man during the Khazarian Empire inhabited Germany and southern Russia and Georgia and these different places, they attributed that Ashkenaz, where the so-called white man dwelt at, they made it as if he was the Japhite, if that makes sense, because he dwelt in the land of the Japhites. But Esau went into the land of the Japhites and slew the Japhites and exiled them and inhabited that land. Now, when you Esau doesn't have a lot of history on that. He doesn't track that history because he doesn't want the masses of people to know how he got into Europe. Right? He wants you to think that he was always a European. So he took that history and he hid it. Between us being the 12 tribes of Israel and how he got into Europe are really the 2 biggest pieces of history that he removed from modern day records. Now, I want to pull a quick precept, right? Just to clarify. right? And there's 1,000 precepts we can go to, like Obadiah, and go to Jeremiah, Job 18, Job 14, Job 20, Job 21. Plenty of chapters that deal strictly with showing who the so-called white man truly is. And you link them up through process of elimination based off of the characteristics of these modern day individuals, and you understand that it's no shadow of doubt that the so-called white man today is Japheth. I mean, it's Esau and not Japheth. So let me get a quick precept on that. All right, this is Genesis, the 10th chapter. So this is Genesis chapter 10 and verse 2. The sons of Japheth, Gomer, Magog, and Madai. So these are modern day nations. So Gomer, you have Magog, Madai, Javan, right? Javan is like your Greece, right? Your Yawan in the Hebrew. So that's Greece, right? It says Tubal, Meshach, and Tiras. And the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, and Rephath, and Togarmah. So Ashkenaz, if you look up a biblical map of the three sons of Noah, when they were given the earth and it was divided amongst them, you'll see the sons of Japheth was given modern day Europe. All right. They were given that land, and the original inhabitants of that land were a dark nation of people. And it wasn't until the so-called white man around the time of was that King Jerome, around 850 or so BC, started going into Europe and cutting down a lot of those Japhites, right? So that's why people think Japheth is a so-called white man, primarily based off of that verse. But prophetically, it doesn't line up even close.
All praises. I appreciate that, brother. Shalom.
Okay, all right. You got something on that?
I think you touched on everything.
Okay, I'll praise to the Most High.
Thank you.
And King, we did it may have been on the older Cold Cuts channel. They might have took those videos out, man. We did an in-depth breakdown on Japheth. I don't even think that video is up anymore. Let me see. Let's see if I can find that real quick, just to see if I can give some more direction. Yeah, that might have been on the older Cold Cuts channel. We may have to go back into Japheth and Esau, going into Europe and all of that. So, Lord willing, we can drop some videos on that, King.
Okay. Con. All right. I appreciate you brothers doing this. I'm happy we could put a face with the questions, so it won't seem like brothers are scoffers when you got sincere questions.
Right.
Because I called in a couple of times on the line, and I was talking to Araya. He told me he made beats, and I was like, brother, I think you can still do beats because I don't see you going off making a beat. And he's like, brother, the places I used to have to go to get my beats played and listened to, I want to be pure in this, a virgin in this thing. I don't want to do beats no more. So just letting you know, brother, I'm kind of the person who asked that question or told you that. So it's good. I could see you brothers put a face with it. And I didn't want you to think I was picking on you either, Raya. I'm the brother who said you should cut your hair. I was like, I hate to see brothers with the Lil Jon, the Lil Wayne spirit. It's only because I think it was all love, brother. I think you got the best delivery in Israel when you say, hey, King, you got 5 minutes for the Lord. Now, I used to be a rapper. I don't bite people's, but I bite that, brother. If I'm in the highways and byways, I'm gonna say, hey, King, you got 5 minutes. You call everybody King. So I just felt like you had the coldest delivery in Israel. So I wanted to, say that. And hey, brother, you so wise, brother, and mighty. I think you should cut the dreads, probably. So it wasn't like that, brother. Just wanted you to know that. I apologize. All praises.
Hey, it's good meeting you, King. All praise to the Most High.
Khan, shalom.
All praise to the Most High. Shalom, King.
Yep.
All right. All praises. We got some questions coming up.
Good.
All right. All praises. Shalom, King.
Shalom, family. Shalom, family.
Shalom, King.
I pray all is with each and every one of you. Pray for me, family. For 5 years, been homeless. Of late, had to enroll in the go to the emergency room because had breathing complications. So I'm present in the hospital now. So I need your prayers, and if you're able to, if your heart is in it, please send relief. my information in the chat along with my video petition of where I'm at now. So let Abba Yahweh lead you as you seek the desire to proceed. Love you, family. Thank you for time and consideration.
I got a quick precept for you, King. Before you leave, I'm sorry to hear that. Most High willing, all the saints watching this are going to pray for you through the Spirit. It's the book of Acts, right? Chapter 3 and verse number 4. It says, I'm going to start at 3. Who seeing Peter and John about to go into the temple, asked in arms. And Peter fastened his eyes upon him with John, said, Look on us. And he gave heed unto them, expecting to receive something of them. Then Peter said, Silver and gold have I none, but such as I give thee in the name of Hamashiach Malak Yahushua of Nazareth, rise up and walk. Right? So I know a lot of time, physically receiving alms can do and mean the world and go, 7 yards, but prayer, that's going to do more than all things. Most are willing, we can chop it up behind the scenes. We got the email. We could get more involved through the Spirit. But nevertheless, as of for now, brothers are most definitely going to keep you in our prayers. Like I said, it's nothing that you can't overcome through Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Peter, James, the men of the Lord, they were out doing the work. And it was spiritual that this account was in there because he gave them exhortation. He gave this man the Spirit. Sometimes the Spirit will revive you, give you more faith. Like we read earlier on in the lesson, as it is, let me read it. Let me not quote it. Let me get the book of Matthew. Let me read it one more time. Matthew chapter 9 and verse number 29. Then touch he their eyes, saying, according to your faith be it unto you. Right? So the more faith you have, King, and that's a long time to be in that situation. That's a long time. That's a ladder for bearing. You still in this faith, you still in this truth. And that's mighty, man. That light a flame under brothers, man. Hearing stuff like that. It's nothing that the Most High won't bring you through that you can't have for a testimony, by staying true and having faith that it could be unto you as your faith is. But like I said, King, we got Watchman for Israel 77 at gmail.com. We could talk more behind the scenes.
Yeah, and I want to get one quick precept on this, brother. This Ecclesiasticus chapter 38 and verse 9. It reads, My son, in thy sickness, be not negligent, but pray unto the Lord, and he will make thee whole. Leave off from sin, and order thine hands aright, and cleanse thy heart from all wickedness. Give a sweet savor, and the memorial of fine flour, and make a fat offering as not being. So that offering now is your propitiation for your sins, repentance, self-examination, keeping the commandments. You understand? Zealous, right? Meditating the works of the Lord. These are the spiritual things that can be done. And like the brother said, the Lord said, "Money answereth all things," right? So brothers, bills don't pay themselves, man, right? You don't pray and $10 million falls out the air, and now your rent is paid. The Lord requires us to labor and to work. So like the brother said, we understand, and that's something we could talk about behind the scenes, or whatever the case may be. I'm sure the nation is praying to help you out, or whatever the case may be. But make sure that you're praying to the Most High and not being negligent. And brothers will pray for you as well, that you may be healed. Man, the Lord said, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there am I also in the midst of you, paraphrasing, right? Matthew 18 and 20. Well, I'm gonna read on Ecclesiasticus chapter 38 and verse 12. Then give place to the physician, for the Lord hath created him. Let him not go from thee, for thou hast need of him. There is a time when it's like in their hands, there is good success. For they also shall pray unto the Lord, that he would prosper that which they give for ease and remedy to long life. Right? So you have brothers that pray that the Most High. Okay. All right. Well. All right. You got brothers that pray that other men get healed, man. So Lord willing, brother, that you get overcome for that. You overcome that. Okay. Okay, let's move on. We don't, I don't know all of the other stuff going on in the chat, but we can move on. All right. Let's see. It's like, yeah. Bear with me. Hold on. Is this something? Okay. In the back chat. All right. Again, we're taking questions for those. We dropped the link. Okay. Well. All right. You got a precept? I'm gonna see if I can just let me drop this link again.
I got a precept, and most high willing, everything goes the brother's way. We're gonna be optimistic. We're not gonna be alluding to things. We're gonna keep an open mind, and we're gonna pray for the saints. This is the book, a song of the three holy children, verse number 16. It says, nevertheless, in a contrite heart and in humble spirit, let us be accepted. So we have to have a contrite heart and a humble spirit to be accepted, like as the burnt offerings of rams. So, I mean, rams and all of these he goats and she goats, those things are expensive. They don't just come a dime a dozen. That was very, very lucrative in the ancient world. You want to have oxen and cattle. So the Lord said a contrite heart and a humble spirit is like thousands, Salakia, 10,000s of burnt offerings. So being sorrowful, putting your spirit on the line, crying, smoking upon your chest, putting your ashes upon your soul, actually getting into a fast and having righteous brothers and sisters pray for you and with you can do the most, man, in this thing. So it's as if you're offering up 10,000 rams. It says the fat of lambs, so let our sacrifice be in thy sight this day, and grant that we may be whole after thee, but they shall not be confounded that put their trust in thee. So the same way, you may ask the Lord something, may give a priest peace offering, Thanksgiving, whatever the case may be. You may pull up the rams and burn them for offering. The same way, have to have faith that in the spirit, with a contrite heart and a humble, petition unto the Lord, that He'll grant you the same way. So just keep a strong mentality on the matter, King, and Lord willing, the nation will continue to pray for you as we will.
Con. Okay, brother Shaul.
Thank you, family. And like
okay,
I said,
I'll praise to the Most High.
Don't listen to slander. Don't listen to lies. I'm very transparent. I have videos on YouTube showing my situation. So I even put the link showing my situation. That it is what it is. It's in the chat on StreamYard, so you can see where I'm at right now. So don't listen to slander. Don't listen to gossip. Be empathetic and compassionate. Thank you, and blessings to you, family.
Okay, all praise to the Most High, King. Yeah, all praises. Yahweh Bashmel Shabbat Shalom.
Yeah, Bashmel Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
Okay. All right, so all praise to the Most High, right? All praises to Yahweh Bashmel Shah. So it's going well tonight through the Spirit of empowerment. I want to get this precept as well, dealing with the particular topic right at hand. This Isaiah chapter 38 and verse 1. And those days was Hezekiah sick unto death, and Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amos, came unto him and said unto him, thus saith the Lord, set thine house in order, for thou shalt die and not live. So the Lord told Hezekiah, you're going to die, man, straight up. Now Hezekiah was a righteous man, right? But let's read on. Then Hezekiah turned his face toward the wall and prayed unto the Lord. So the immediate reaction from Hezekiah is when he was sick and told that he was going to die in his sickness. Because a lot of people hear bad news. You'll never walk again. Right? You'll never be the same. Right? You'll never be able to move your arm the way that you used to move it. You're permanently impaired. I'm sorry. There's nothing we can do about it. Now, we've done all we can do. Maybe here's a business card to the local physician. Right? That's the best we can do. right? Don't let the door hit you on your way out. And don't forget to pay that insurance bill. We'll be mailing them bills to you in 2 weeks. And you're limping out the hospital, man. A lot of people hear bad news from the so-called white man, and you take it to heart. Right? You're looking your symptoms up on WebMD. Oh, no, I have so-and-so. What are the symptoms? And then you're just lusting to find out what's wrong with you, man. And you, oh, wow, I have this. I'm itching. What does that mean? Skin cancer. And then you damn feeding yourself damn woes and troubles and sorrows of heart, man. Hearing all this bad, grievous news. Hey, Isaiah, let me read this again. Then Hezekiah turned his face toward the wall and prayed unto the Lord. So his initial response, just like all of ours should be when you're dealing with infirmities, is to immediately pray before the Most High. Now, let me be clear. If you slip, if you bushing your head and your head bleeding out, or you're in a car accident and you got a knife in your chest, and hey, look, you better get an ambulance, man. You better call upon Yahweh Shemi Shai and call 911. Let's be clear. Right? A lot of brothers be over righteous, man. You walking the cat, your damn bone, your damn shoulders all distorted. Talking about Shalom, King Shalom. Brother, what's wrong with you? Not trust in the Lord. Brother, maybe you need a sling. Right? Get a sling, brother. Brother show up in excruciating pain, screaming, man. He got open wounds and sores and a damn hole in his neck, man.
Just leaking.
Yeah, leaking. Holding it. Come on. I'm in the spirit. I'm in the spirit, King. I'm enduring. Everybody, I'm enduring. Brother, you're not going to make it, man. Right? What do you mean you're enduring? You're bleeding to death. You need stitches. I got it. I don't trust. Then you try and giving yourself damn stitches, man. Putting a thread in your mouth and you're in the bathtub pouring peroxide. Brother, come on. You're not qualified to do that, man. Right? You're just trying to. Brother, that's not you, man. Right? It's not a sin to if you're in desperate need and the situation presents itself to go that route, man. But really, you do want to pray to Yahweh Shemi Shai first and foremost, right? And call upon the Lord. But hey, the Lord created the physician, man. Right? So you want to have discernment too. Let me put that out there. You want to have a high level of discernment. Right? But Hezekiah prayed unto the Lord and said, remember now, O Lord, I beseech thee, how I have walked before thee in truth and with a perfect heart, and have done that which is good in thy sight. And Hezekiah wept sore. See that? So he wept sore and prayed to the Most High. The Lord actually healed him, man. Right? He healed him. So we can move on. Right. Let's see if we had any questions in the back. Okay, no questions. Backstage. Okay, the brother. Let's see if I can get him back in here. Shalom, King. You good? Brother might be having technical difficulties. Okay, let's move on. Right? There was another question I saw in here. And we really want to focus on, we want to see if we can get questions that pertain more so to the topic at hand. Right? If not, we'll deal with them accordingly. I may go back up to the top and start from that point on. Okay, Lady of Yahweh, Shalom, Kings. My husband left me while pregnant and a 2-year-old for a woman outside the truth. Not done according to scriptures. How do I get my husband back into the truth for the sake of our family? So that's a tough situation right there. Your husband left you while you were pregnant for a 2-year-old. And our 2-year-old for a woman outside the truth. Okay, the brother said, trying to get back on. Okay. For a woman outside the truth, not done according to scriptures. How do I get my husband back into the truth for the sake of our family? So I'm assuming based off of this question, I don't want to assume that he's in the world because you said back into the truth. Are you saying how do you get him back to deal with the family, right? Back into the house, right? Or back into the marriage, or he fell out the truth. You want to bring him, you want to see if you could bring him back into the truth. Or he fell out the truth, he's in the world, and you want to bring him back to the truth. So I want to make sure we deal with this question in wisdom. So Lady of Yahweh, if you still on, if you could kind of get some more detail, that would be definitely beneficial. But we are sorry to hear that, man. A lot of the curses still run heavier in our nation, right? When you read Deuteronomy chapter 28 and 54, that still happens in Israel, unfortunately, man. We're still subject to these curses. A lot of brothers are still living out these curses, unfortunately. Sad to say, with fringes on, man. A lot of women too, man. So this thing is these curses are traumatizing. This Deuteronomy 28 and 54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother and toward the wife of his bosom. So leaving your wife while she's pregnant and with the 2-year-old, that's your eye being evil towards your wife. Right? So a lot of people, you expect to come into this truth and things to be perfect, and you expect things to, and I'm going to just put this out there, right? You're supposed to change when you come into this truth. You're supposed to be a new creature, but everybody's not in this thing for the right reason, right? Everybody's not enduring. Some people are in this thing, but lust drives them away. Temptation takes hold on them, entices them, and they're seduced by the woes of this world, man. And they become another victim of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter on the hit list, man. Verse 54. Deuteronomy 28:54 has claimed another victim, has claimed many lives, many souls, caused many tears, man. Sad to say, man, in this thing, and left a sister while she was pregnant and a 2-year-old, right? So we read this verse for brothers on the highways and byways so they can know they Israel. We're not supposed to be reading this verse for brothers and sisters who know that they're Israel, man, who are supposed to know better and do better through repentance and the grace of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. So anytime we got to read this for those that are in this truth, it's another sad day in Israel, man. Let me read this again. So that the man that is tender among you, we're going to deal with the point at hand too, but I got to bring this up, right? And very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother and toward the wife of his bosom and toward the remnant of his children, right? The 2-year-old. Let me get the brother back in here.
Okay, come.
Right? And toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. Okay, and the sister said, Khan, he's currently manipulating the scriptures and telling me, hold on now, let's deal with this. So I wish I can kind of put them both up together, right? But I'm gonna have to put this one up. Okay, Khan, here's the update. He's currently manipulating the scriptures, telling me I can't have another husband, but we no longer live together. We just need leadership because I have no one else in the truth. Okay, but let's deal with the first point, right? And then we'll deal with this point. All right, did you see the first point?
Vaguely.
Okay, let me see if I can kind of pull that back up. Okay, let's see if I can actually pull that back up. I want to go back. Okay, here it is. All right. Shalom Kings. My husband left me while pregnant and a 2-year-old for a woman outside the truth, not done according to scriptures. How do I get my husband back in the truth for the sake of our family? Right? So that's what she said. But then the next part, like I said, I got to scroll down a little bit. It's that he's currently manipulating the scriptures and telling me I can't have another husband, but we no longer live together. We just need leadership because I have no one else in the truth. Right, so I'll put this out there. I initially read Deuteronomy 28:54 because it's unfortunate that we have to deal with this. Right, I hate to pull that verse on the Monday Night Fire for a brother or sister in the truth. Right, that's a sad case. Now, if this man left, you understand that he's dealing with the woman in the world, but it seems as though, based off your second point, that y'all still communicate. He's still, like I said, this is a sticky situation because I need to know what's going on, right? If we're going to help out, right? I just want to get some more information, but you got it, King.
And to add on to that, there's no way specifically to get him back into to the truth. There's no secret, call you could get on, no secret video you could watch, secret precept he could read, and he'll automatically just come into the faith. This is John chapter 6 and verse, I'm gonna start at 44. No man can come to me except the Father which have sent me draw him. So essentially the Most High has to draw your husband to this thing. Yeah, you can exhortate, you can strengthen up, you can help, you can fast, you can pray. There's a lot of things I'm sure you've already done, being a woman of the Lord, but if not, those are some things that you should execute. But nevertheless, if you've done those things, you've cried out, you've done all you can do, at this point, the Lord says, no man could come unto me except the Father which have sent me drew him. So you could give a brother all the in-depth breakdowns, all of the precepts on faith, mercy, endurance, right grace, right prophecy. He'll look at that like, what does that mean to me? You'll be casting your pearls before swine. Some people just not going to get the truth. The eyes are blinded, whether the Lord sifted them out. There are diverse situations that could befall that individual that you have no control over. So, that just really goes into weighing the whole matter in a balance. It's hard to weigh a whole marriage in one question to give counsel on. That's why we gave the link for the opportunity for brothers and sisters to hop up here. It'll be more expedient, right, to hear more of the conclusion of the matter. But you got it. You on mute.
Oh, Consolaki. Yeah, sister. Like the brother said, if you want to ask, if you want to kind of say what's going on, we kind of help out through the spirit, as best as we can. But there's also to the point that he's telling me I can't have another husband. Well, you can't have another husband, right? That's something that's also true, right? In addition to what the brother said, that's also true. You can't have another husband. You already have a husband, right? The only way you can have another husband is if your current husband dies. Now, if your current husband goes and gets a woman of the world that's not in the truth or done according to scripture, that's unfortunate and it's sad and it's just outright off and it's not righteous at all. But that doesn't mean simply because he did that, you are now allowed to get another husband, right? That's not how this thing goes. Now, you can say, well, he got another woman. I'm not saying you're saying that. Well, I can get another husband. Now, that's not how the truth operates, right? That's not how Yahweh Shemel Rashad operates. So, and neither can you put away your husband. Well, I'm like, well, what? I would just divorce him, right? You can't write your husband a bill of divorce and put it in his hand, right? So we have to understand the laws of marriage to be able to help us deal with these marital situations, right? So let me go to Romans chapter 7. Right? I just want to put that out there, right? Romans chapter 7. Now, what you can before I read that is you can correct your husband, right? Look, whatever you want. Look, you're going off. You don't have to say it in these words, but I'm just putting it out there, right? Look, that's not righteous. According to the scripture, it should be done this way. According to this precept, the Lord said to do good and communicate. Forget not for what such sacrifice the Most High's will please. The Most High's will communication. Can two walk together lest they be agreed with? A plethora of precepts that you can go into to correct your husband because that was not a righteous thing to do. Right? Now, if he put you away, that's also evil. So let me get this first though about having another husband. This is Romans 7:1. Know ye not, brethren, for I speak to them that know the law, how that the law hath dominion over a man as long as he liveth. For the woman which hath an husband is bound by the law to her husband so long as he liveth. But if the husband be dead, she is loose from the law of her husband. So then, if while her husband liveth, she be married to another man, she shall be called an adulteress. But if her husband be dead, she is free from that law, so that she is no adulteress, though she be married to another man. You see that? So that's how that thing goes, right? You're bound to that husband as long as he's alive. Now, if he dies, you can have another husband, right? But if he's alive, you're bound to that man according to law. Now, there are situations where you have women that are unhabitable. That's the word I'm looking for. Marital situations, maybe domestic abuse. Maybe this guy, he's dealing, smoking crack and dope, and you got the kids around, and you got to get them away because there's crack pipes everywhere, and CPS will come and take your kids from you, and you want to use wisdom, and you kind of get your own spot, or stay with a family member for the time being. Those things can happen according to scripture, right? Which means that you would remain unmarried, right? Are we telling you that? No, but that's something that happens, right? Now, if you remain unmarried, you still can't be with another husband, right? Or have another husband. You can be reconciled to your husband or remain unmarried. That's 1 Corinthians, the 7th chapter, right? But if this man went off and he's manipulating the scriptures, the Most High is going to deal with him, right? The Most High is going to get up with him. The Lord said, wait on the Lord, right? And he shall save thee, paraphrasing Proverbs 20 and 22. Say not thou that I will recompense evil, but wait on the Lord and he shall save you. So you can't recompense evil or do things unjustly when your back is against the wall, right? You have to wait and trust in Yahweh Shema Shai, who's the beholder of the injustice that's done in the earth. And the Lord said in Psalms 89 and 14, justice and judgment are the habitation of thy throne, right? So the Lord dwells with justice and judgment, right? The Most High said, let me get this one more precept, right, real quick, in Job 34. This is Job. Actually, I'll get Job 8. This is Job chapter 8 and verse 3. Doth the Most High pervert judgment, or doth the Almighty pervert justice? That's the question. Does the Most High pervert judgment? Does the Most High not do justice? Well, the answer is la'ah. The Most High does execute judgment every day. So the Most High, he's the true avenger of the forlorn, of the widows, the fatherless, and those who are crying, man. Right? So I will continue to throw my prayers, see how about Shema Shai, the Most High is going to deal with that situation as he deemed fit. You can't take the matter into your own hand and get another husband. And the brother said, neither can you bring him into the truth, right? You can correct him and rebuke him in righteousness according to wisdom and understanding, right? You can't go fight that woman, right? You got, I'm gonna go fight, I'm gonna whoop him, right? You can't go fight him, right? You can't, there's a lot of things that the flesh may want to do, but also the Lord said, and unfortunately, you may not want to hear this, but it's scripture. The Lord said, shall we not receive good of the Lord and evil? So even in your marriage, you're going to receive evil and you're going to receive good. Sometimes we receive this affliction and we have to deal with long suffering and keep our trust in the Most High.
Come on. Right, I want to get this quick precept too. Shalom, King. I want to get this quick precept too. It's the book of Tobit, chapter 8 and verse number 6. It says, thou madest Adam and gavest him Eve, his wife, for an helper and stay. Of them came mankind. Thou hast said, it is not good that man should be alone. Let us make unto him an aid like unto himself. And now, O Yahweh, I take not this my sister for lust, but uprightly. Therefore, mercifully ordain that we may become aged together. So the whole ideal for a marriage is not to throw in a towel, switch up a husband in your 20s, you switch up another one in your 30s, and switch up the last one in your 40s. No, it's to become aged together. That's how it was in the ancient world. So when you have a wife or you have a husband, your key goal is to die together or be beamed up together in righteousness, to forever stay together as one flesh until the day of the Lord, man, until the day you give up the ghost. So there should be no opinion of what should be done when the scriptures have already spoken. Now, whether he had done you wrong, He may have manipulated the scriptures, put his hands on you, fought, yelled, a lot of treacherous things and wounds that have caused in a marriage. That's not going to override the scriptures of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. No matter how mad you are or whatever the case may be, like you have to be in malice like children, man. Though children could get hurt, and children, I mean, a kid will run another kid over with a bike, man, straight up, run him over, and then back it up and run him over again. Then the kid may run inside. He got wounds. He's bleeding. You know, his mother put some Neosporin on him, or you know, whatever the case may be, put a little bandage over him. Right, he's right back outside running and ripping all over again, man. Having fun, enjoying the sun, outside with the rest of the children. You don't want to hold grudges and things that are going to override you no matter how much you've been hurt or how bad things have gotten in your marriage, man. There's nothing but Satan to feed off of that spirit that's troubling you. So, sister, just believe and understand, like the brothers are bringing out the precepts, that you have to become age with your husband. Peradventure he depart, he go back in the world. Now you got to remain righteous, blameless, and on fire for the Lord. You got it.
I don't want to let me talk off the brother's points.
Hey, Youre, on your volume mad low.
Can brothers hear me?
Yeah, but it's real low. Unless it's just me on my end. All right, you can hear him?
Yeah, it sound low. It sound low.
Can you hear me now?
It's a little better.
I was going to say, in Job 13 and 15, it says this: though he slay me, yet will I trust in him, but I will maintain my own ways before him. And similar to what the brothers are bringing out, we're going to receive both good and evil from the Lord. And, you know, it can seem like a hard pill to swallow, but altogether, there's truth. The Lord never said it was going to be an easy walk. You know, a lot of things, this is going to be for the trying of our spirit. I have another precept as well in 1 Timothy 5 and 5. Now she that is a widow indeed and desolate trusteth in God and continueth in supplications and prayers night and day. And not to say that you're a widow, but you know, him doing that action, you know, he's trying to make you a widow, moving in that spirit. If you know everything's happening the way you say it is, of course, like the brother said, we got to examine the whole matter. But nevertheless, the scriptures say she slightly continueth in supplications and prayers night and day. And so while you're being afflicted and going through this chastisement, it's a beautiful time to pray night and day, as scripture said. Like sincerely pray night and day.
Yeah, the Lord said, I'm sorry, you was done, Salaki.
I was done.
Yeah, I want to get this one more quick precept on that, right? This is a classic in Acts 14 and 22, right? This Acts 14 and 22, confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith, and that we must, through much tribulation, enter the kingdom of God. So that much tribulation isn't just talking about Jacob's trouble, right? You can receive tribulation through your health, right, and pain. You can receive tribulation in your marriage. That might just be the hell that you have to catch, right? You may have good health, man. Some people's tribulation is their job. They can never find a steady job. They're broke. They can never kind of keep their head above water. Some people's infirmities, like, could be their health. Some could be loved ones. Everybody has a condition or a battle that they have to deal with, man. And some people's, it's just strictly their marriage. They got perfect health, perfect credit score, perfect finances, reliable transportation. Everything works well for them, but their marriage is hell all the time. And they're always going through something, and it's always some drama, and it's always some madness, right? But guess what? That's much tribulation. That's the cards that you were dealt by Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, man. You got to play that hand. This ain't part I fold. Where is that? Where the most size so you can fold at? I fold. This ain't Texas Hold'em, man. It's the truth. You gotta play that hand, man. You know, no matter what you was dealt. Right? So if you catching this hell, hey, you gotta call upon Yahweh Shema Shai. Did not Hananiah, Azariah, Mishael glorify the Lord in the midst of the furnace, man? They sung a whole song in the furnace, a long song, while they was catching hell. They were literally catching hell. So how much more you and this life in the land of the living? And the Lord said one more real quick in Isaiah, right? Isaiah chapter 48 and 10. One of my favorite precepts in Isaiah, it reads, behold, I have refined thee, but not with silver. I have chosen thee in the furnace of affliction. So the Most High, he didn't choose you to go down the yellow brick road. He didn't choose you to walk in lilies and dandelions. He chose you, said, I want that person right there. I want that individual. And I'm going to take that person and I'm going to throw him in the furnace of affliction. Right? And then you in the furnace of affliction, man. You know? So this is something that we have to learn how to love. We have to learn, not just breakdowns, not just remembering the precepts, not just in-depth knowledge, not just the milk. You have to learn and love how to learn, or learn how to love affliction and suffering, because it's inevitable. You have to learn how to embrace it with a full embrace, man. Put your right hand around their shoulder, man, and your left hand around their back, and embrace and love the affliction of Yahweh Basham Shah, because it brings immortal fruit, man. Brings about experience. That's Romans 5 and 3. We glory in tribulation, knowing that tribulation worketh experience, right? Believing it says that and experience hope, right? So these are the things that you gain through hell, because when you start catching hell, and the Most High deliver you from that hell, you learn that the Most High will always deliver you, so you expect the deliverance, man. Right? So, you know, you got to rejoice in this tribulation. The brothers got it.
Got a quick anecdote. Like earlier today, I was catching some hell. I would say I was very vexed because, you know, my job is sodomites there. And I got to work, and I gotta hear the filthy conversations of the wicked. Like, just off things all day. I gotta see sodomites do this and kind of just be flamboyant, and it's just. But you know, I thank the Lord that He's chastised me and putting me through the fire. I laughed and I just started thanking the Lord, and I just did a cold cut on that in regards to prayer. And yeah, you gotta pray to the Most High. And I used prayer Azariah, put that out, and I was thinking about that when I was at work. I'm like, wow, they prayed in the midst of the fire. That's mighty, and that made me think about today. And I was thanking the Lord in the midst of the fire, just hearing filthy conversations that can't be uttered. Sodomites. It was off. It's not like I could just, hey, I'm out for today. That's much. I gotta work there. It's bad, you know. But yeah, I was definitely thinking about the prayer of Azariah and how they prayed in the midst of the fire, and how our forefathers they prayed in the midst of hell. And how Shai cried unto the Lord. You know, Hannah, she cried unto the Lord in her distress in the fire. Esther cried unto the Lord in the fire. A lot of our people, they cry unto the Lord in the midst of that fire. But when you're in the fire, you know, you got to ask yourself, what are you going to do? You want to take matters in your own hand, try to jump out of it, it's too hot, or you're going to praise the Lord and thank Him for making you stronger. Because all the prayers you throw up, you know, He's gonna bless you in a person. If you understand what I'm saying. So if you ask for strength, He's gonna give you strength through through some examples, through some real life situations. So,
let me bring out this quick precept. It's the mighty book of Job, chapter 23, and verse number 10. It says, but He knoweth the way that I take. When He have tried me, I shall come forth as gold. So Job is saying that he's getting tried. You know, Job lost his family. Job had boils on him. Job received off counsel. right? He was pushed, right? Job, I mean, all hell was breaking loose with Job, man. Satan was troubling him. He was vexed. I mean, every which way around, right? He was mourning for days. So, I mean, Job was catching hell. But through all of his catching hell, he knew that the Most High, was trying him. And the Lord isn't trying you for no apparent reason. People do things, in the world and nothing becomes of it. But the Lord, everything is purposeful, man. So when the Lord tries you, it's not to beat you down, not to kill you, not to cast you away, but it's for you to get stronger. That's why we work out our muscles, man. That they may grow. It burns when you work out, man. You may run up and down the court 15 times. If you didn't stretch and you're not in shape, then you're gonna feel that burn, man. You're gonna feel it the next day. There's certain things that, even though it hurts, you may collapse. You may feel like you're about to pass out and die. When I was younger, I used to play basketball when I was a kid, and we used to run up and down doing those suicides. And you would actually feel like you're about to die. Right? Put your hands on your knees. Don't put your hands on your knees. Put your hands on your head. You breathing, you about to pass out. You asking for water. You don't get no water, man. You're feeling like you're about to die. When it's game time, and all of that hard work that you put in, it strengthens you for that hour, man, in that exact moment. It says, my foot have held his steps, and so like his way have I kept, and have not declined. So my foot have held his steps. And that steps is that shepherd leading behind, man. Yahweh Shai is going to lead the path. He's the shepherd. Right? That song of Solomon, the first chapter, verse 7 all the way down. Lead me by the shepherd's tents. So Job was following behind the Lord, and his foot isn't going to decline. Meaning he isn't going to step aside. He isn't going to go to this. He isn't going to go over there. And that's not always doctrines and philosophies. Your foot can slide through, I'm sick and tired of going through this. I want relief right now. And I may run to a bottle, weed, drugs, a woman, right? You may run to the world, anything to hug you and embrace you in a way that you feel like the Lord isn't, huh? It says, neither have I gone back from the commandment of his lips. I have esteemed the words of his mouth more than my necessary food. So Job is saying, man, more than eating and replenishing my body, I've esteemed the words and the commandments of life. Brothers got it.
Got one more point. I was going to say it's an old saying, how can I fall with the staff and a rod? Because, spiritually, the staff and a rod, they're instruments to guide a sheep. And the shepherd, being our Lord, Yahushua, he's not going to make you fall purposely. He's not going to kind of break your ankles, break your bones, and just watch you fall and just be like this. I got you. No, he's guiding you, and the staff, is for to guide you, and that rod is to correct you. But he's not gonna, beat you down to powder, into dust, into nothingness. So that's I like to keep that in mind as well. How can you really fall with the staff and the rod? Unless you purposely fall.
God. And I got a quick precept because I want to touch on the latter part of what you said. We just need leadership because I have no one else in the truth. You can reach 2 points. You can reach out if you want to get counsel. You and your husband want to get counsel, reach out to the email. We do that. But as well as I have no one else in the truth. Is never, I understand what you may mean, but things like that ought not to be said. Right? This is Hebrews chapter 13 and 5. Let your conversation be without covetousness, and be content with such things as ye have. Here's the point. For he hath said, I will never leave thee, nor forsake thee. You see that? For he hath said, that's in Deuteronomy, the 31st chapter. Right? When you read verse 6 on down, it says, for he hath said, I will never leave thee. So you always have someone in this truth, man. See, how about Shemi Shine? You have to believe that. The Lord is with me. Right? The Lord was with Elijah in the cave. There was a Nebuchadnezzar, like we talked about earlier. He looked down, he said, there are 3 men in the furnace, and the fourth is like the Son of God, man. Because the Lord was always with his men, man. And the daughters of Zion. The Lord heard when Susanna cried. She thought she was alone. right? With 2 wicked judges of Babylon, lifting up prevail, ready to bear false witness. Hey, the Lord was there, man. And he raised up the spirit of a young youth named Daniel. So you're never alone in this thing, man. Rather you have family in this truth, or rather you're catching hell, or you feel like no one understands you, or you're in a bad marital situation, the Lord is always with you, man. We'll read that again. Hebrews 13:5. Let your conversation be without covetousness, and be content with such things as ye have. For he hath said, I will never leave thee. Now, it's the Most High liar, right? Because last time I checked in Psalms 27, it says, when my father and my mother forsake me, then the Lord will take me up, man. So when everybody leave you, the Lord will pick you up and take you, man. We got to understand the power that we serve, man. Now, we serve a merciful power, man. Right? One of loving kindness. One who hates oppression, man. Right? So you have to trust that the Most High is always there for you, man. When you have that contrite heart, the Lord loveth the contrite heart. That's a sacrifice the Most High loves, man. The sacrifice of the Most High are a broken spirit, a broken and the contrite heart. Oh God, thou will not despise, man. That's written, right? It reads, so that we may boldly say, Hebrews 13:6, so that we may boldly say, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is my helper, and I will not fear what man shall do unto me. Rather, it's a wicked husband. Rather, it's a tumultuous situation. Rather, you're catching hell. Rather, you're going through adversity. It says, the Lord is my helper. You got to say that boldly. The Lord got me, man. Right? Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai got me. So you don't never feel like you're alone in this thing, man. Hey, one more point, did not Elisha tell his servant, Lord, open his eyes that he may see, for there be more that be with us than that be with them. And the Lord opened up his eyes, and there was horses and chariots of fire round about the mount in 2 Kings, the 6th chapter. So then you always rolling deep, man. I mean, you roll with a crew. You roll with war angels, death angels, good angels, austere spirits. Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, chariots everywhere you go, man. Never forget that. When you at work, when you driving, when you at home, when you're in mirth, when you're in joy, there's always an innumerable multitude of angels that surround you. And you're an Israelite, man. You're not just some Negro in the streets. You have power with the Most High. The Lord has sent angels around you to those that fear the Lord, man. You got chariots, you got angels, you can call upon the Most High. There are things that you have at your disposal that you can't take for granted, man. And you have the Most High. Nobody has the Most High but you. You know, so hey, these scriptures are for your comfort. You got it, King.
Con, that's a mighty point. And you can't never forget that. You know, like David said, paraphrasing greatly, I will remember the right hand of the Most High. So when he was catching hell and he was going through things, he said, look, this is my infirmity. Meaning this is what I gotta go through. This is my affliction. It is what it is. This is the outward temptation for me at this moment, man, that I gotta deal with. This is the furnace. And this is my infirmity. So don't be overwhelmed about certain situations. You know, you grow from that through experience. You gain more wisdom, right? You gain more strength. You know how to deal with demons. Now, once you know fought a plethora of demons, you know, whether it be drinking, wrath, right, an evil husband or strife, you start to gain experience, you know, from battling those spirits, how to conquer them, what precepts to go to, how to be temperate. So all of these are accounts and situations, you know, to help you, you know, through the spirit. And I'm gonna get this quick precept, right, real fast through the spirit. So bear with me. All right. I want to get the book of Matthew, chapter 6. It's the book of Matthew, chapter 6. And I'm going to start at verse, 25 all the way down is fire, but I'm going to just touch on verse number 30. It says, wherefore, if God so clothe the grass of the field, which today is and tomorrow is cast into the oven. Shall he not much more clothe you, O ye of little faith? Therefore, take no thought, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or whereall shall we be clothed? For all these things doeth the Gentiles seek. For your heavenly Father knoweth that which ye have need of these things. So the Lord knows specifically, that's the point I wanted, what you have need of. So you don't have to write, this isn't Santa Claus. You write a list, you put some cookies down, or you scratch your head. Nobody knows what I'm going through. Nobody knows what I deal with. Oftentimes, that's how we feel because nobody can relate to what specifically we may go through at that moment because we're not directly talking to somebody that can testify that they can relate to it. That doesn't mean that it isn't an Israelite halfway across the world dealing with that same exact infirmity. And the Most High is beholding all of it. The Lord said, for your heavenly Father knoweth that ye have need of all these things, man. Right, your rent, your household situation, your family, your children, and the Lord knows all of those things because He literally formed the predestination from the foundation of the earth. The Lord said, "But seek ye first the kingdom of Yahweh." And that may be hard sometimes to run that race with blinders on, but you have to just look at the kingdom. You can't look at this horse speeding up. You can't look at, this man throwing a rock and a stumbling stone and a ditch all the way over there. You have to just run and seek after the kingdom upon this race and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto thee. And all of those things you may seek for is peace, a better life, a situation, a better situation with your husband. And the Lord may hold that to you, man. There's many accounts of people coming into the truth together as a couple. There's many accounts, with a woman's righteousness shining so strong that they brought the man into the truth, and vice versa. So we don't know the will of the Lord, but through faith and believing and long forbearing, there's nothing that you can do. So just always keep that mentality with faith that the Lord already knows what you're dealing with. The Lord knows you may be hungry, thirsty, tired. You may need clothes. I mean, the Lord is forming everything. How does He not know all of these things? And when let me get this quick precept in Job, because even Job said that. It's the book of Job, right? Chapter 9 and verse. I'm gonna start at 16. It says, "If I had called and He had answered me, yet would I not believe that He had hearkened unto my voice." So Job was perfect. Job had wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. He was like an elder and a king. And even Job said, if He had hearkened unto me, yet would I not believe that He had hearkened unto my voice. Because it may feel like you alone. You may pray 15 times. You're going to fast. Did the Lord really behold my fast? Did the Lord really hear my prayer? Then you start intermingling with doubt. You start intermingling with not having faith. And all of that's a spirit to chop down your prayers, chop down your faith, have you to feel small. And even Job said this, man. But nevertheless, Job had strength and he believed in the Lord. And that's the same spirit we got to be moving in. Brothers got it.
That's right. That's right. That's right. All praise to the Most High. So, Lord willing, Lady Yahweh, if you want to reach out for more insight, you can reach out via the email watchingforisrael77@gmail.com, or there's counsel or things that you want to bring out. We do have those platforms at your disposal. So, Lord willing, we'll pray for you that situation gets better. Shalom, sister. Okay, hold on, Salaki, we got somebody trying to get rid of. Hold on, James. Give us 1 second. Okay, Shalom, Sarai Yasha'Allah. Okay, all right. Well, I'm not sure what happened. All right, but this marriage isn't easy, huh? Right? Marriage is not supposed to be easy. There's no scripture that says, okay, thou shalt be married and it shall be well with thee. Right? Now there are scriptures where marriage is a blessing. The Most High said, he that findeth a wife obtaineth favor from the Lord, and he that hath no wife will go up and down mourning. There's mirth and joy in it, but you got to remember, man, you're in the truth, and the truth brings out the bad in people more than the good at times, man. right? You find out who people really are in the truth, because you're forced to be righteous, and now you see it's like you it's like a sieve, if I'm pronouncing that right, because you see the good in the people because they're commanded to be good, but then you see the evil. But when you're in the world, all you see is darkness. You don't see no good, man. Right? So, and it's truth, you see a lot of bad in people more than good at times, man. Because the Most High divides the light from the dark as an adamant. And that the truth brings out the worst in people, man. Shows, who's proud, who's not sincere, who's lofty, who's heady, who's high-minded, who's just outright really wicked, who's false, who's a deceiver, a backbiter. The truth speaks volumes, man, to particular people and who they really are. So I just want to put that out there and encourage brothers and sisters to endure in their marriage and continuously endure in this truth, man. Let me get this precept, right, as we begin to wind down. We're going to put that we dropped the link, one more time for those that want to get on and ask a particular question, right? We're in a downward, taking the tail end of this thing, right? So for those who did have any last questions, we're going to kind of get those in there through the Spirit. But let me get this precept, right? Let's get this precept first and foremost, right? Let's go to the book of James, the 5th chapter, right? This is James chapter 5 and verse 11. Actually, I'll read 10. James chapter 5 and 10. Take my brethren, the prophets, who have spoken in the name of the Lord, for an example of suffering, affliction, and of patience. So patience is another gift that we have to have, man. Because like I said, marriage, you can be quick to leave. You can be quick. I'm done with you. I'm reaching out. You get mad at your husband. Now you immediately talking to Rail and Dion. Y'all get into one argument. Now you back talking to Dion. Or you and your woman get into it. Now you talking to Keisha again, man. You haven't talked to Keisha since 1996, brother. I gotta just get mad. Just gotta talk to anybody. See what Dion do. Dion always there. He always gonna be there. Right?
What was his name again?
Who?
Asking yourself, what was his name? Oh, that's right. And you Googling it. You going on Facebook to find it. I know somebody is like that.
Facebook looking for him. Right? But let me finish this precept real quick. It reads, take my brethren, the prophets, who have spoken in the name of the Lord for an example of suffering, affliction, and of patience. So the truth is about patience. Right? Patience is waiting. Right? Rather the Lord had you wait 3 years for your marriage to be reconciled, or 4 years, or you catching hell, or it could be a week. Hey, some brothers get married and it start off bad, or sisters, and then in the process of time it grows and grows, and it becomes more beautiful and loving, like a flower that starts in darkness and yields fruit, man. But it's about patience, right? Reading on. Behold, we count them happy which endure. We count them happy which endure. Ye have heard of the patience of Job, and have seen the end of the Lord, that the Lord is very pitiful and of tender mercy. Right? So all praise to the Most. I'm going to bring the next king up here. All right, Shalom, King.
Shalom, shalom.
Yahweh Shemel Shabbat.
Just had a question. It's kind of off topic a little bit, but I've been trying to figure this out. Why is the tribe of Dan not on the 12 tribes chart?
Okay, the tribe. Yardan, you want to deal with it? I can deal with it.
I was going to bring out Ezekiel 48:32.
Yeah, you can go to it. You can deal with it.
This is Ezekiel 48, 32. We break down, but it reads this. 22. I said at 21. It reads this. So shall ye divide this land unto you according to the tribes of Israel. And it shall come to pass that ye shall divide it by lot for an inheritance unto you, and to the strangers that sojourn among you. Is that one? Oh, that's 47.
Yeah, you want 48, right? It's Ezekiel 48 chapter.
It reads this. And at the east side 4,503 gates, and one gate of Joseph, one gate of Benjamin, one gate of Dan. You want to break it down? I was just bringing it up.
Yeah, so okay, so dad, so to the question, brother, Dan is on the 12 tribes chart because when you go through the book of Genesis, the 48th chapter, you read that Ephraim and Manasseh received a portion amongst the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. Right now, when you go to, let's go to Genesis chapter 48. Right, let's deal with it. Right, this Genesis chapter 48. I'm not going to read the whole chapter, but when you read the chapter, this is the blessing for Ephraim and Manasseh. Genesis chapter 48 and verse 18. It reads, and Joseph said unto his father, not so, my father, for this is the firstborn. Put thy right hand upon his head. So when you read this account, Joseph brought Ephraim and Manasseh between the knees of Jacob. Jacob put his right hand on Ephraim and his left hand on Manasseh, right? But Manasseh was older than Ephraim, so his right hand supposed to go on Manasseh, his left hand supposed to go on Ephraim. But Jacob knew what he was doing, right? So he was confident that the blessing was going to go on Ephraim. And that's why Joseph was upset. He didn't know, right? Verse 19, and his father refused and said, I know it, my son, I know it. He also shall become a people, and he also shall be great. But truly his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his seed shall become a multitude of nations. And he blessed them that day, saying, and thee shall Israel bless, saying, God make thee as Ephraim and as Manasseh, and set Ephraim before Manasseh. So the Lord essentially put the spirit on Jacob to adopt Ephraim and Manasseh into those tribes, right? So you don't see Joseph on the 12 tribes chart. Joseph is the second youngest son of Israel. You don't see Dan on the 12 tribes chart. You don't see Joseph because Joseph is essentially Ephraim and Manasseh. You don't see Dan on the 12 tribes chart primarily due to the idolatry that Dan was in throughout the course of the time of Judges, all the way up until the time of the end of Judges, and the spirit of rebellion and folly that they was in. So when you read in the spirit how the Lord set up Judah, Judah was set up to be the head tribe, right from the time of Genesis all the way up until the time of Joshua to the time of Judges. And when you read about Dan, Dan was into a lot of rebellion and a lot of folly. So it's according to the will of the Most High, right? But I want to read this in the book of Judges, right? Let's go to Judges
17.
chapter, we're going 17, right? This is the book of Judges, chapter 17, and I want to start at verse, I'll read 18, right? So like it is Judges chapter 18 and 1. In those days, there was no king in Israel. And in those days, the tribe of the Danites sought them an inheritance to dwell in. Now, this is way after the time of them entering to the land. Hundreds of years later, they're still trying to inherit their land, right? The rest of the tribes, they know what's going on. Dan is still looking for an inheritance to dwell in. For unto that day, all their inheritance had not fallen into them among the tribes of Israel. So every tribe was on point in the spirit. Dan wasn't. And the children of Dan sent of their family 5 men from their coast, men of valor from Zor and from Eshtaol, to spy out the land and to search it. And they said unto them, go search the land. Who, when they came to Mount Ephraim, to the house of Micah, they lodged there. Now, I'm not going to read this whole chapter, but when you read this chapter, the children of Dan warped their inheritance from east and they moved north. So they changed the inheritance that Yahweh Ba'ashmerashah gave them out of their own lust. So there was a lot of things that the tribe of Dan did that the other tribes did not do. When they set up the 2 golden calves, when Jeroboam, right, one was in Dan, and it was in Dan until the time of to the time that they got removed out of Israel. Right, let me get this in Judges chapter 18 and 30. And the children of Dan set up the graven image. And Jonathan, the son of Gershom, the son of Manasseh, he and his sons were priests to the tribe of Dan until the day of the captivity of the land. So they was always going off. There was, even when you read 2 Chronicles, the 30th chapter, there were portions of Manasseh and Ephraim that would come down to keep the Passover with Hezekiah. When you read about the Tobit, you had tribe of Naphtali that would come down at times, but Dan was always going off. There's not too many accounts outside of Samson when you can speak well about the tribe of Dan, right? So that's really according to the lot of the Most High to determine what tribe would not be allotted in there. But like Yaradon brought out in Ezekiel 48, that doesn't mean that they're not going to be in the kingdom. Dan is still here today. Who Dan is, we can't call it, because Dan is scattered primarily amongst the northern kingdom. Remember when the 10 tribes came over here, Dan came over here too, right? And the lesser and lower Antilles and a lot of those islands, right? But to pinpoint exactly who Dan is, we can't say, right? But that's why, according to the understanding, why they're not on 12 tribes chart.
Okay, got it. I was just looking at it, and Jeroboam did the exact same thing, if not worse, right, than what the Danites did, being from the tribe of Ephraim, and they're on the 12 tribes chart. And they're also mentioned in Revelations chapter 7, and Dan isn't.
Right. Well, Ephraim received the blessing, and what Jeroboam did can't disannul the blessing and the promise that Ephraim had. And there are things that our fathers did, rather, you're from the tribe of Judah, Benjamin, or Levi, that are worse than what Jeroboam did, but yet they're on the 12 tribes chart. Right. So it's all about, the Lord said in Romans, the 4th chapter, that I'm going to get this quick precept real quick, just for that point. This is Romans, right, chapter 4 and verse, let's see, start at Salakia. No, actually, let's see. He does Romans. Bear with me. Okay, this is Romans chapter 4, and I'll start at verse 20. Actually, I'll start at 14. Actually, I'll start at 13. Romans 4 and 13. For the promise that he should not be the heir of the world was not to Abraham or to his seed through the law, but through the righteousness of faith. For if they which are of the law be heirs, faith is made void, and the promise made of none effect. Because the law worketh wrath, for where no law is, there is no transgression. Therefore it is of faith, that it might be by grace, to the end the promise might be sure to all the seed, not to that only which is of the law, but to that also which is of the faith of Abraham, who is the father of us all. Because the promises override your works. That's what it's saying. So if the Lord put a promise out to Ephraim, it doesn't matter what goes on in the works. It's like the Lord made a promise to Abraham. So no matter what works you do in the law, it's not going to disannul the promises. Right? So promises trump everything.
Okay. All right. Well, the water for the explanation, King. I appreciate it.
Okay. All praise to the Most High.
All praise.
All praise.
I was going to mention another quick point. when you read in Judges, the 19th chapter, that man that chopped up his concubine, it says there was in Judges 19 and 30, and it was so that all that saw it said there was no such deed done nor seen from the day that the children of Israel came up out of the land of Egypt unto this day. Consider it, take advice and speak with your minds. So, whoever tribe that brother was from, that was a great evil that has been seen since Israel left Egypt. And that says a lot. However, that didn't disannul anything.
Khan. Shalom, James.
Yo, Shalom King, can you hear me?
Khan.
All right, bet. So, correct me if I'm wrong. Y'all teach creation was on the 6th day, right, of man, correct?
Well, that's what the Bible teaches. The Bible teaches man was made on the 6th day.
Bet. And you know what I'm saying? That's what I initially thought as well, but I kind of been wrestling with this when I get these precepts. So, when we go into Genesis 1 and 24, 1 and 21, where it says, no, I'm sorry, brother, 1 and 20, beginning of the 5th day, right? So it says, and God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that hath life. Does that creature not include man, or is that just the beasts of the field and of the waters?
That includes the beast of the water. So, and it explains it, right? It says, and God created great whales and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And God saw that it was good. So the waters bring forth fish and other aquatic creatures, right, after this kind. And the earth brings forth creatures after his kind.
Got you. All right, so explain. All right, Second Ezra is where I kind of get confused. So when we go into Second Ezra 6 and 47, if we could get that. I got it, but if you want me to read it, I can read it.
Go ahead, King.
All right, bet. So upon the 5th day, thou sayest unto the 7th part, where the waters were gathered, that it should bring forth living creatures, fowls and fishes. And so it came to pass, for the dumb waters and without life brought forth living things at the commandment of God, that all people might praise thy wondrous works. Now it's going into people already, and this is the 5th day. So that's where I kind of get a little confused with the with this topic. And
okay.
then, yeah.
I'm sorry, King.
No, go ahead, bro. If you could explain.
No, go ahead, bro. I don't want to cut you off.
Okay, yeah. So that makes me that's what's starting to make me think that man was created on the 5th day, and then later on it goes down into verse 53. Upon the 6th day thou gavest commandment unto the earth. And that's where some camps teach that man was created, but it's looking like here that man was already here, and on that 6th day he gave us commandments separating us from the beasts of the field. Because when you go into Psalms 49 and 20, it explains that if you don't have the commandments of God, that you are as the beasts of the field. So that's kind of where I get thrown off a little bit in terms of which day a man was created on.
All right, so let's go back and revisit Second Ezra, the 6th chapter, and we'll read 40 and 47.
Bet.
All right, so 47 explains what was made on this 5th day. Right, then we'll explain the next verse. Right, this Second Ezra 6 and 47. Upon the 5th day, thou settest into the 7th part, where the waters were gathered, that it should bring forth living creatures. Now it explains the living creatures, fowls and fishes, and so it came to pass. So fowls and fishes were made on that day. Then it explains what the effect of that was and how that happened in the next verse. So now I was about to explain how it happened, right? For the dumb water, meaning water that can't speak,
right,
and without life, brought forth living things at the commandments of God. So those living things are explained in the previous verse, fowls and fishes. So they were made, that was done for a particular reason. The reason it was done is that all people might praise the wondrous works of God.
Okay.
So when it says that all people might praise the wondrous works of God, it's not saying that people were made on the 5th day. It's saying the Most High made fowls and fishes on the 5th day, and it explains how he did it. Because water can't speak, water doesn't have a birth canal, water doesn't get pregnant, but water has brought forth life.
Right.
The Lord shows his power and the creation to be able to bring forth living things out of something that's inanimate, for lack of better terms. So the Lord doing that is so marvelous. It was done so when we see these aquatic creatures, we can praise the wondrous works of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua.
My bad, King. I didn't know I had my camera on.
Oh,
okay.
Right.
So meaning the people to come on the 6th day would see that, is what you're saying.
Right. Even us today. So we can see the wonderful works of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, what he has done, how he brought forth great wells and living creatures on this day.
Okay. Okay. So even now, when it goes down to verse 53, explain this one. So it says, upon the 6th day, thou gavest commandment unto the earth that before thee it should bring forth beasts, cattle, and creeping things. And after these, Adam also, he gave dominion over these creatures. So Adam wasn't already here on that 5th day, and that 6th day was used as a day to kind of give order in the kingdom, for lack of a better term. You know what I mean? It's kind of how I'm interpreting it.
No, on 53, right, when it says, upon the 6th day, thou gavest commandment unto the earth, that before thee it should bring forth beasts, cattle, and creeping things. So beast talk is not, this beast is talking about a different type of animal.
Right.
So the Lord is dividing different animals, right? So a beast is something like a bear, a lion, right? What's another beast y'all are done?
Like giraffes,
rhinos,
an
elephant. Those are beasts. Then you got your cattle, right? Your bullocks, your oxen, your sheep, your goats. Those different types of, and then you got the creatures, the spiders, ants, centipedes, millipedes, etc. Right. And after these, so the Most High created all these different beasts, and then he created man.
Okay.
Right. So that goes back. Let me get this real quick. When you go back to Genesis, right, real quick. This is Genesis chapter 2 and verse, I'll read 20. And Adam, let me read, actually I'm gonna start up. I'm gonna go to Genesis 1 first.
Okay.
It's Genesis 1 and 25 and 1 and 24. And God said, let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind. So the waters brought forth creatures after their kind, and the earth brought forth creatures after their kind. Right? Yep. Cattle and creeping things, the same thing, and beasts of the earth after his kind, and it was so. And the Most High made the beasts of the earth after his kind. Those are different species, right? Genomes, etc. And cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. And the Most High saw that it was good. And the Most High said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness.
On that 6th day.
For on the 6th day. So if man was already made, why would it have to be made in his likeness?
That makes it. See, I precept that a particular verse with Psalm 49 and 20. I guess maybe that's what threw me off.
Well, yes, Psalms 49 and 20 is a precept, but it does show that men can be referred to as beasts, but you can't link it to the creation,
right?
Because that only refers to men being without honor and no understanding,
right?
That's the only reason why men are referred to as beasts in Psalms 49, but not in the creation.
Okay, but that clears it up for me, King. I appreciate that, man. That breakdown.
Okay, all praise to the Most High. It's a good question, King. Okay, God. All right, Shalom, King.
Shalom, King.
Okay. All right, so we got beautiful questions tonight, man. Beautiful questions tonight through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. And like always, we're not able to get to every question like we want to through the spirit. Right, but Lord willing, brothers and sisters can reach out via the email, and we're able to answer more questions, or you could reach out to brothers' personal pages, Lord willing, I know I have to get to some questions, so I've been kind of slack on that, but I can step that up. I know we have the email that we can get, that we have access to, and brothers have their personal pages. So be patient with us, allow us to get to these questions, and Lord willing, um, it can be edifying through the spirit of Papa Yahweh Shemel Shah. Right, Yardan, got any closing precepts?
God,
Yeah.
this is Surah 35 and 4. Thou shalt not appear empty before the Lord, for all things are to be done because of the commandment. The offering of the righteous maketh the altar fat, and the sweet savor thereof is before the Most High. The sacrifice of a just man is acceptable, and the memorial thereof shall never be forgotten. And that applies in these last days, because the Lord requires that we bring something to the table. We bring something to the altar, to be more specific, right? And what has to be brought to the altar is our prayers, our alms, things we sacrifice, even our flesh. Everything is brought to the altar. And you don't want to appear empty before the Lord. You wouldn't appear empty before Esau if he told you to gather X, Y, and Z at work. You wouldn't appear empty before your spouse, right? You wouldn't appear empty before your kids. So how much more the Lord? You're on mute, King.
Pocket the water. I encourage Akim or Aqua, the brothers and sisters, to examine themselves in their marriage, see what things they can improve on. Pray to Yahweh Shemel Shah, get counsel if you need to. Communicate effectively with your husband, if you're a sister, and with your wife about things that you can do better to, strengthen your marriage, and the things that are ready to die, right? So you want to see what things can be improved on, communicate that, and those are beautiful conversations to have, man, and not be proud and stuck in the ways of your own heart, man. Right? So this is Revelation chapter 22 and 12. And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me to give every man according as his work shall be. So that's in your marriage, that's in his truth. So make sure brothers and sisters are examining themselves, examining their works, keeping their hand to the plow, because at any given second, it can go down, man. Right? All hell could break loose, and you want to make sure that you have been giving your best effort in this truth and doing as much work as you can through faith in these last days. Right? But with that, we're going to close up, giving, of course, our honor and glory to Yahweh, by Shema Mashiach, from Yeshua. Shalom.
Shalom.